Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/Reel Chronicles. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Welcome, everybody, to Reel Chronicles, brought to you by ReelTalkInc.com. I am your host, David, and I'm joined with today...
Gaius.
There you go, G. I thought you forgot your name for a second.
No, I'm here. No.
And joining us for a few sessions today is...
Jen.
This
Hey,
is
guys.
You said it right.
This is the first time she hasn't screamed her name on the podcast.
I can't help how excited I am to be here.
Well, before we get started, happy birthday to ReelTalkInc.com.
Yay!
Yesterday was our 1 year anniversary of kicking off the website. It was exciting to get to year 2. Doing big things.
Gonna be doing more big things.
Year 2 is gonna kick off real strong this month because Gaius is heading to San Diego Comic-Con, so that should be a lot of fun. And
It should be a lot of fun.
Gaius is gonna meet Stan Lee. He's gonna meet the cast of Riverdale. He's gonna interview everybody for us, right?
But dude, the TV line is ridiculous. There are certain things going on at the same time, and my brain can't comprehend how to choose where to go.
It's overwhelming, right? Is this your first Comic-Con?
It becomes overwhelming after a few days.
Oh, wait till you get there. You're gonna be like, what do I do first?
And this is
it was funny because my friend was like, "Oh, there's a Westworld one. You have to go to that." And I was like, "Well, yeah, but then there's Legion right there." He's like, "Oh, fuck Legion."
I can tell you from experience from New York, and you have it worse because, well, I guess better because it's a lot bigger. We make these lists of panels we want to do and we want to cover, and we don't get to all of them. You'll never get to everything you want to do there. It's just so much to do, and you're going to have a lot of panels that are probably going to overlap each other.
I know, because I don't even that was just the TV end of it, so I don't even know what the movie side is yet.
So you should find out in the next few days, right?
Yeah, it should happen in the next few days. But yeah, I was all my nerd dreams are on that list.
And make sure you get the app too. The app is really helpful. As long as you have service, then you're good to go.
I will definitely do that.
Happy 4th of July, guys.
Yay.
Yay. Happy Independence Day.
I have to go back to work tomorrow for one day.
Oh, you have to work tomorrow?
Yeah,
I do.
It's the worst day to have 4th of July is when it's in the middle of the week and you have that.
Dude, everyone I know over here has it off. Monday off.
They didn't give it to us off. I could have taken it off, but then, I was like, do I really want to waste a vacation day? I'm not really going anywhere this year. So I was like, let me just save it and I'll just suck it up and go in on a Monday. Yeah. And actually, for the next few years, it's kind of going to be like that because if you think about it, the next one is going to be Wednesday, Thursday. So really, it's not going to be boss until Friday.
Yeah.
There's nothing that roadblock of work though in between the holiday.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So this week we have a few things to cover. We're going to cover our top 10 summer blockbusters and cover our 5 worst summer blockbusters. That should be fun. But before we get to that, we want to cover probably the surprise box office hit of the week. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it opened at 30 million.
Oh, it opened at 30?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I guess. Well, yeah, it did. I read that on the Hollywood Reporter. I don't know if that counted it opening midweek, but it just listed it as 30 million for the weekend.
And I'm glad that people went out and saw it because to me, this week I saw it took 7 months, but or 6 months, but I saw the 2 best films of the year with The Big Sick on last Sunday, and then Baby Driver this week. Is that your number 1 so far this year? Do you still put? I know you love Get Out, so
I did out. Baby Driver's a little over it, but it's still close though. They're both very good.
Now, I saw that it's getting, and I'm sure you've seen it too, and we actually did a poll on Twitter about this because the first thing that I thought of when the movie ended was, the people that hated The Drive in 2011 probably were expecting what they got in Baby Driver.
I would assume so. All my friends assumed it would be like that.
Now,
but they actually enjoyed it more though.
Did we all love it here?
Yeah, we loved it.
Okay.
It was so much fun.
But let's not knock Drive because Drive is really good.
Oh no, Drive is my favorite film of 2011. But I get to me, it's more it's obviously to me it's more noir than it is what Baby Driver is. It's just fun action comedy. But this, Drive to me was a nice slow burn, and Baby Driver is more of right away. You get that scene, that when they're robbing the bank right at the beginning, you get that chase right at the beginning. You're like, okay, it kind of they kind of set you up like, okay, this is what we're gonna do for the entire film. So
it was so cool to see like an action, like some of the action scenes, like they weren't like all over, like there's something simplistic about them, and like where like you can still like make action movies like that and make action scenes exciting. It doesn't have to be like stuff that we see in like Transformers, where it's like you're getting attacked with just a bunch of CGI and a bunch of explosions and like and you don't feel anything after them. Like when I was watching some of the scenes of Baby Driver, I was like, that was fun, that was exciting.
I don't know if you felt this. I personally did. Some of the stunts and some of the set pieces were, they were crazy, but I find them more believable than anything Fast and the Furious does with their car scenes and their car chases and their action set pieces. It made it a lot more believable than anything Fast and the Furious has
this
done.
is a little more realistic, I feel like.
Very much so. I mean, it rained cars at one point in the last Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
the more time the more time passes, the more I dislike that movie.
It was fun. It was fine.
But are we all in agreement that we all hated Jamie Foxx in this movie?
Hell yeah.
Not performance wise.
Well,
but
he never gets to play that kind of stuff too, which is that was fun to watch. Actually,
I guess that's a good point too. Actually,
I didn't shit think about out of that. I think.
And the thing is, he's been like sleepwalking through like his last few things I've seen him in. Well, so I haven't been excited to see him and stuff. But like this was good.
He's busy dating Katie Holmes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's like my favorite celebrity couple.
It's like awesome. A secret celebrity thing because Tom Cruise is crazy.
Yeah, if you go back into like the backstory and all that stuff, it's such a good backstory.
So like,
because like
yeah,
he did Collateral with Tom Cruise.
Great movie.
And then Tom Cruise was like, oh well, Collateral and like Ray, like let's like kind of spread them out because he had like Tom Cruise has like a ton of control of like anything he does. So he was like, you know what? We'll release Collateral a little earlier, and then so it doesn't interfere with like any attention that Ray's gonna get. And then of course, Ray made a lot of money. Ray got Jamie Foxx an Oscar. He actually got nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Collateral. Like he owes a lot to Tom Cruise, right?
I hate to ask this question. I mean, it's years later, but did he win for the wrong role? Because I actually liked him a little better in Collateral than I did in Ray.
I liked him more in Collateral, but I knew like something like Ray would get.
But a biopic, I mean,
there was two biopics that year. That was the Joaquin Phoenix year too, wasn't it?
Oh, that was Walk the Line.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Walk the Line.
And he was dead on too. So I mean, but yeah, the Katie Holmes Jamie Foxx thing is like my favorite. Like there's like this one show always brings them up, and they always show this picture of them in the recording studio, and you can tell that they didn't know that anyone was taking the picture. But like he's fiddling around like doing music shit, and then she's looking at her phone, but they're like holding hands while they're like doing whatever they're doing.
That's cute.
And like it's just funny because Katie Holmes doesn't seem like she'd be down with the swirl, but she is. It made me like her a little bit more. I was like, good for you, Katie Holmes, because
Oh, Joey.
I always felt like Tom Cruise like snatched her up like right when she was about to like kind of break out, and like she was doing some good stuff.
That was the Batman year.
Her late 90s.
There was a running joke for a couple of years on like different podcasts that I used to listen to, that the reason Batman Begins was so successful was because they brought in Tom Cruise's wife, who they also brought in the last time Batman was successful in Batman Forever.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, interesting.
It's a running joke. I mean, obviously, it's not true. But
Tom Cruise is like Batman adjacent.
Yeah, it's not true, but it's funny that you look at that parallel. That Batman,
Nicole Kidman,
Kidman, and Batman Forever, and that was really successful. And then Batman Begins, and we go off from there.
Can we agree that we like Katie Holmes a little bit more than Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Yes.
I know no one wants to say it because technically Maggie Gyllenhaal's the better actress. I guess.
But no, I did not like.
He hated it.
I did not buy it at all.
Every time we watch the movie, David's
I'm like, oh.
And then actually, the more I watch Batman Begins, like, because I never thought Katie Holmes was bad in it. I thought
I don't think she's
it's not
bad
her
either.
fault that she looks young. I mean, like everyone kind of like, oh, she looks too young to be in that the position that she was in and blah blah blah. Like whatever, that's fine.
Face anyway.
I
She has a young face and she can't.
Yeah, she still has a young face.
Because the thing with Batman's origin is that every time they restart his origin, he's always a different age. They never keep him around the same age.
That's true.
So how old is Bruce in this?
Another good point.
In this version of Nolan's world. So I think Katie Holmes is great in it. I think she's perfectly
I think I
fine
would
in
have
the
cared
role.
or if she would have been drafted the bomb over Maggie Gyllenhaal. I mean, I did.
Yeah,
care.
no,
I mean,
it's true because you really don't feel. You're supposed to feel that for Bruce there because he loves her and whatever, and then boom, it's Maggie Gyllenhaal. She explodes, and you're like, okay, whatever. Joker got one up on them.
Something else that was allegedly Tom Cruise's fault that he told her to turn it down because Christopher Nolan wanted Katie Holmes back. There was a big thing that he didn't want her, and Christopher Nolan was like, I wanted her back, asked her to come back, and she declined to come back.
Oh,
she did Mad Money instead with Queen Latifah and Diane.
That movie.
Yeah, I know. But the big rumor was that Tom Cruise advised her not to do it, probably because she died.
But it's funny. Shout out to going back to Baby Driver. Shout out to John Bernthal for making the poster for 2 minutes of
airtime.
2 minutes of on-screen time.
Good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah, because I was totally expecting him to come back later, and no.
Now we all know. Now we all know here how much I love La La Land, and I love how the music is incorporated in the film. But can we talk about how great the music was incorporated to Baby Driver?
Oh, so good. It's like essential.
Good, and I think Jen's the one that told me that they
I read somewhere that
they wrote this. Edgar Wright wrote the script off the music.
So he built the soundtrack first, and then
he built the script.
Kind of used it to build the script. And I actually heard that he had written this script. It took like 6 years to make this movie. Like he had written it like 6 years ago. Then then he kind of tabled it for a while, and then he did a few other things. And then like 3 years ago was when he really got it like back started to like get everything going. And I think he probably had some studios that passed or whatnot, but so dumb for whoever passed on it because I think
they're probably kicking themselves right now.
And what a difference from the other movies he's made too, right?
Oh, it's way different.
He directed Scott Pilgrim too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I low-key love that movie.
No, I don't low-key. I absolutely love that movie. It's so fun. Absolutely love it.
Well, I have friends that don't like Michael Cera. So every time I bring him up, they're like, ugh. I'm sorry.
Damn it, George Michael.
I think I've actually never seen Arrested Development, so
it's fun.
What?
Yeah.
He's good in that.
Oh, it's so funny.
I'm pretty bad on that.
My problem is that he basically he doesn't really have a lot of range. He just kind of does him.
He's the same note.
Yeah, he kind of does.
But he's
even
funny.
in Superbad, he does the same kind of thing.
Now, do you think this? I mean, I'd be very surprised if it goes anywhere. Do you think this has any shot of like staying, the course and maybe getting some Golden Globe love? I know it's not getting any Oscar love.
I like how you said Golden Globe, not Oscar.
No, this is way too cool for Oscar. Like the Globes, I can see it. The Hollywood Foreign Press does crazy shit all the time.
It would be really cool for
they
it
like
to
doing fun stuff there, so I'm always down with the Golden Globes. So they do stuff that like the Oscars would never do.
It'd be really cool for it to get like award acclaim. I mean, it's kind of like this was fun, kind of like how when we saw Sing Street.
I love Sing Street,
and it was so good. It was like a surprise because
I was so happy.
We were rooting for it, hoping that it would get some like more nominations than it actually did.
I was so happy that it at least got the Golden Globe nom because it was so
but it was
good.
So good,
and it was probably the best of the first half of last year to me. That and then the people.
The People versus
No, not the
OJ.
People versus OJ.
No.
OJ Made in America.
Oh,
those are my top two from early last year. But yeah. Baby Driver, please support it. I mean, we have no affiliation with Baby Driver, the studio, or anything like that, but please support it. Movies like this should be made. There should, be more of this and less of remakes. How about that?
Pretty much.
And
they made money, so
and
I'm sure every studio now is like, we should do original ideas now.
and less Will Ferrell.
Oh, that didn't work out either.
No.
For the house.
Did you see it yet?
Apparently. No, I'm seeing it today, but I'm hoping that I get my friend drunk enough that he'll forget that we're supposed to go. I mean, I have to see. I'm not in a rush now.
I would say, let me see. I would call this,
especially after what you said.
Bye Bye Man is still my worst of the year, but I think this might fall under number 2. Jen has a better sense of humor than I do with comedies, and even her, she was very meh.
You say you didn't laugh, right?
I did not laugh once. He didn't laugh
once. Like, I kept looking over at him, and he looked miserable. Like, he was kind of like...
That sucks. That's Amy Poehler.
I will say it wasn't... I thought it would be a little funnier than it was. So there were, like, a few little, like, cheesy laughs that I got, but nothing, like, too crazy. Like, I feel like in some of the spots, they were a little too, like, over the top. But either way, I mean, I love Amy Poehler, so I'll watch whatever she does.
What's funny is that the person that I thought would annoy me the most is the one that didn't annoy me the most, and that's Jason. Oh my god, I can't get his last name. Mantzoukas, the guy from.
I know.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. He is. I watched the show The League, or used to watch the show The League when it was on air, and he was my most disliked character. I thought he was terrible. So, I mean, I feel bad that you have to watch it now too, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I heard Mariah Carey filmed a cameo for that movie, and then they ended up cutting it because she was awful to work with. Apparently,
oh, really?
Like, she showed up like super late and had all these. Well, it's like typical of her. That's what she does. But she was super late and had all these demands, and she was playing herself, and it was only supposed to be like they were shooting for like what should have been a few hours. And then they had to wait for her, like, ruin the whole day. One of the actors, I forget who, but he was the first one to kind of speak out on it. And then finally, like, Will Ferrell was like, yeah, it wasn't great. That's why we ended up cutting her.
I love he's the one that has to judge on what's great and what's not great.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I know you don't like him.
Yeah, but I'm sure Mariah was not great. So
no, it's...
Well, even in Precious, which she was fine in, like, her few scenes, like, you know, kind of made up for that debacle that was like Glitter, like a few years before that.
You love Glitter, just admit it.
You don't. I don't love Glitter. I mean, it's funny. It's like it's not supposed to be funny, but it's hilarious. But yeah, like even in that, like Lee Daniels, and this is like her friend, like they're like tight. But Lee Daniels was like saying that she was complaining that she couldn't wear makeup, and she was like, "Can I wear a little of this?" And he was like, "No, you're a social worker. Like, you're not supposed to be all done up. You're not playing yourself." And like that's just her.
What
But I mean, you have 18 number 1 songs. I guess you can do that. I guess
do that. But another movie that was holding on strong this week was Wonder Woman, which passed
700 million worldwide.
But domestic, it passed Batman v Superman. And Suicide Squad, so it's now the highest grossing DCEU film.
Yay!
And it's like holding up really well weeks to week.
Yeah, it only dropped 39% this week.
Like
37.
Yeah, like that means that people are seeing it multiple times. That's not just like new people being, I gotta check it out.
The drop kind of fell off too because it lost 529 theaters this week.
Oh, I mean,
after a month,
you're gonna start dropping.
It's funny how, like, you know, back in the day, you'd have a movie and it would be at the movies for like months on end, and now you're lucky if it's even in the theater longer than a month.
One of the first, and I think, thinking, I'd have to look to confirm, but one of the first movies that that went out of theaters right away was Batman '89. And I remember that theaters were so angry. They're like, "Oh, why are you?
You need this money."
Yeah, and I mean, it was the highest grossing film of all time at that point. And you're gonna take it out of theaters because you wanted to put it on VHS. I think Batman '89 was one of the first $20 VHSs, because back then VHS was like $90.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But
dude, freaking Scream was in, I guess, theaters for a long time. So long that when they were in production on Scream 2, Scream was still in theaters still, because it made its money slowly.
Yeah, because
and gradually.
That was word of mouth that set that off.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But speaking of superhero movies, and we were talking about Wonder Woman before, Batman and Robin's Alicia Silverstone had a little something to say this week about Wonder Woman's success, and she just doesn't get why it's so successful.
Did she see it?
To quote her, she said, Before Wonder Woman, there have been many movies with female leads, so I get a little confused. as to.
All right.
You're gonna have that because Serge called me.
Okay. Do you want me to read it?
No, I have it.
Can you?
Yeah.
Can you read it?
Go get him.
Oh,
can
go
you read
get
it
it.
as Cher?
What happened?
I was like, can you read it as Cher from Clueless?
Oh. All right.
That might make it better.
So 19 minutes. 19 minutes.
Write it down. Text me. I can't do this.
Yeah. So she. I don't know, babe.
Okay.
It's 12:47.
I feel like this statement, it sounds like something Cher would write.
Dude, when I read the statement, I was like, nah, she didn't say that. Like, she really has to. Like, the thing that pissed me off when I read it is that she ends up going full circle and bringing up herself, being the leading lady in Clueless, and that annoyed the shit out of me. Yeah, when you read it, you're gonna be like, oh, she really had to go there.
Brought it back to herself, just trying to be relevant.
Yeah, seriously. All right.
I mean, she's got a show, I guess, so just gotta get people talking.
I'm gonna start reading it now. Where are we? It's in my thing. Okay. So yeah, Alicia Silverstone is in the news. She had a little something to say about Wonder Woman and just doesn't see the hype. Now I'm going to try to do my best Cher impersonation and read her quote as Cher from Clueless. G, you're probably going to like shut me up right away. So Wonder Woman. Before Wonder Woman, there have been many movies with female leads, as if. So I get a little confused. We have made strides, of course. I think about, what about all these wonderful comedians who have females who have had massive hits? There's Bridesmaids, and then she goes on to add, there's Bridesmaids, and then there's Mean Girls, and then there was Clueless. Over time, we have had so many movies that have been female-driven. So she really doesn't get the point of Wonder Woman's success. G, you're first up. What do you think?
That's ridiculous. I mean, I guess I don't see her point, because I mean, I guess what she's trying to say is that like we're acting like this is the first time a female-led film has been successful.
My thing is, like, I think you'll come in an agreement with this, that I understand where she's coming from in terms of like being, you know, there have been comedians that have had female-driven films before, but there's never been a female-led superhero film that has done the massive numbers that Wonder Woman has done. So, like, for her to say that,
like, been a female-led action movie that's done that well, I can think of off the top of my head.
No, not at all. And it's upsetting. It's upsetting to me that she had to bring her, you know, she came full circle on how to bring it back around and talk about Clueless.
I mean, that's all she's got. You can't bring up Batman and Robin.
And I don't think she'd want to bring up Batman and Robin.
Or excess baggage, or else what else has she done?
Wait. What is excess baggage?
It's her. She was in that like after
The
I think
best
it was before
movie ever.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's so good.
Well, you know, Benicio del Toro.
And Christopher Walken. Hello.
Yeah, it's got a decent cast.
I actually really like it. It's a movie I could watch over and over and over and over again.
She's also hot in it, so I'll give her credit for that.
Wait, Alicia Silverstone was
She was hot in Access Back.
Wait, what year
She's
was that?
a little emo in it.
Yeah, it's all like emo and like I don't care, but like
my daddy's rich.
Yeah.
Like, woe is me. I have issues,
Everything's so
and I lock
sad.
myself in a trunk for attention. But it's so good.
And then the other bit of news, of superhero news, is the shortlist for Batgirl has been released. It was released last night. There is 9 names on this list. Now, I don't even know where my heart lies and who I would want to take this role. I know, G, you probably have your favorite when I go through these names. So let's start with Hannah Baker is on the list.
Who's Hannah Baker?
13 Reasons Why, man.
Oh, that was the lead chick? Oh, I didn't know her real name, that's why.
Catherine Langford. We also have Bella Thorne from Shake It Up.
No. Bella Thorne's a hot mess right now. Have you seen her? No.
I have not. We have Elle Fanning.
Yeah.
Olivia Cook.
Oh yeah.
That's actually, if I had to pick a name, I actually think I would go with her with all the Bates Motel love.
Yeah.
All right,
She's also on Ouija.
Jane Levy, Jane Levy or Levy, from Don't Breathe.
Oh, I like her too.
Haley Lou Richardson from Split and Edge of 17. Margaret Qualley from The Leftovers.
Oh, that's good. Actually, because I love The Leftovers, so.
And finally, Naomi Scott from Power Rangers.
Out of all of them,
this is tough.
Well, we kick out Bella Thorne right away.
I mean, I would put I think Elle Fanning is going to get it, to be honest with you.
She's the bigger name.
She's the biggest name out of all of them. And then we have, I would go with Olivia Cook because I think she's great in Bates Motel.
It's true. Also, but Joss Whedon could probably make all those girls great. I think. Except for Bella Thorne.
Now, chiming in on his opinion is a special guest host for today. His name is...
Oh, me?
Yes, or you?
Hey, can you introduce me?
It's Sergio.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Oh, what's going on?
Hey, dude, what's up? We haven't met, but I've heard your voice. I've heard your...
Serge is not only a great friend of mine, but he is a weekly listener to the podcast.
Oh, snap, guys. Hey, what's up?
So to show that we are the podcast of the people, he is our special guest host of the week. So any of our listeners that ever want to come on, you can see by this week's episode, feel free.
And you don't have to be a film geek like David or Lewis. I am a total noob at this, but I like movies. They're fun to watch. And
yeah, you just know what you like.
And to occasionally analyze.
Listen, if anyone knows what he likes, is G. G knows what he likes, and he sticks to it. And Lewis loves the Friday trilogy.
I mean, I think I like him for all the wrong reasons.
Exactly. Lou likes him for the right reasons. He'll be here in a little bit so I can defend that.
Uh-oh.
There's only one good one, and then one mediocre one, and then one awful one.
And then there's soon to be, what is it, Last Friday?
Yeah, I mean, that's I'm okay with it if we can get Chris Tucker back. I just kind of want to see what it would be like with him there.
If they do it, they're gonna do it with the whole with the original cast, I think. But
I'd watch it.
Ice Cube is too busy with his Big Three basketball league
you
garbage.
Can't have a Friday movie if Ice Cube's not in it.
Was he in all three?
Ice Cube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, going back to the Batgirl list, do you think there's anyone here that... Do you think this is more about Joss Whedon than the person who plays Batgirl?
I think it's more about him. I think he could kind of make... I mean, like, he is no stranger to making a strong female-led, character work.
What I think, and I don't know what you guys think, is that I think the reason that these names aren't so big is because Gal Gadot wasn't a well-known actress, and look what they did with Wonder Woman. And I think they want to take someone that's not so well-known, and then with the is Whedon writing the script as well, or just directing?
I heard just directing, but it's possible that he could also be doing that too.
So with his work, and you have someone that's not such a big name, they could just elevate them with the quickness. That's what I personally think. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. Look at the issues that's going on right now with Star Wars, and they took someone that's not such a big name, and they're you're better with names than I am. What's
his name's like Alden. His last name's hard to pronounce.
Ehrenreich, Alden Ehrenreich. They're hired.
He was in Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar. They hired a acting coach because of how bad it's going on the set.
Dude, we haven't even talked about that, huh? We haven't talked about the whole Han Solo.
I wanted to ask about that because I'm still trying to, I'm not as, I guess, experienced in all this, but I did see online that it did have a director, and then he or she got kicked out. They got kicked out.
They left. They say they left, but they were fired. They were fired.
Why?
They
have conflict of interest with script issues.
I mean, and then also I've been seeing that a lot of the actors in the movie are actually kind of upset at the direction of the movie, and they're saying that it actually is changing a lot of the lore of Star Wars, and they're kind of upset about that.
I think if they're upset, they may have reason to, but I have faith in Kathleen Kennedy, and I think, unlike any other franchise, Disney and Lucasfilm are not going to let anything mess up their baby. Because Disney has Marvel, yeah, and that's successful, but Lucasfilm's baby is Star Wars. I don't think that after what happened with the prequels, I don't think they're going to let that happen again. That's my personal opinion.
That was George Lucas's fault. The guy who created it.
I honestly think we should have a podcast one week and defend the prequels.
You can only defend one of them.
Episode 3 was decent.
Episode 3 is fine.
Episode 1's not terrible.
Episode 1 is awful.
Episode 2 is the awful one. That's where we differ.
2 really bad ones, and then
like Serge is a very smart guy. Didn't you like hearing about taxations and in Star Wars? That was like the best part of the movie, right?
I mean, it was just all about politics and the chancellor like overtaking the. It was not as fun as
episode 2. Just watching like Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman frolic around the grass for 2 hours.
I'd rather watch a Drew Barrymore movie than watch scenes with Hayden.
Why you gotta bring her into this, man?
Because it's a weekly topic.
I know. Stop hating on Drew Barrymore.
One day,
let her live.
One day we're gonna get to the point that I'm gonna watch every Drew Barrymore movie and just write a review on every single one.
You have to start with Home Fries and then.
Yo, you mention Home Fries every single week.
I know, because that's like her worst movie. I think that's funny.
It's funny. So this week's main topic, we're gonna talk about summer blockbusters. But before we get into Lewis, Gaius, and our list, Serge, Jen. You may not have a top 10, but what are some of your favorite summer blockbusters?
Oh, let's see. How about you throw a name out there, and then I'll tell you if I liked it or hated it.
Let's see. Independence Day?
The
original.
No, I loved it, man. It was great. It was cool.
Jen's favorite one is Grease 2. I believe that was released in the summer.
I didn't even know that had a sequel.
And I don't do that to yourself.
I don't even think that was released in the summer. David is talking out of his
Wait,
ass.
when was Grease the original Grease released? That seems like a summer movie. Probably wasn't.
Grease was released in the summer.
Oh yeah, it seems like a summer movie. I love Grease.
I love
Grease 2 on the other hand.
Grease 2 is hot garbage.
Garbage is so bad.
Grease was released June 16th, 1978.
Yeah, that seems like a perfect summer movie.
No.
That's actually a good time to release a musical, I think.
My
or at least
fun
a fun
summer
musical.
movie is Jaws. It's so good.
That is a good one. I kind of forgot Jaws was a summer movie.
Jaws is not on your list, G?
No, because I forgot it was a summer movie. I need to kick something out.
Oh, geez. We're gonna.
I know. I forgot it was released in the summer.
Isn't there a Jaws like part 3 or 4 where he chases like all the other guys, he follows them around the world or something of the sort? That's awful.
That's really bad. The sequels were bad. I mean, I think number 2's all right. It's not horrible.
Jaws of Revenge is the one you're talking about, I believe. The crazy thing about Jaws is the revenge is that like it's making it seem like he's like seeking out these people that he's supposed to know who these people are. Like he's getting revenge. He's a shark that was related to the shark in Jaws 1.
Wow.
And he's seeking out the revenge to kill the Brody's family or his son for killing, I guess, Uncle Jaws from part 1.
Oh Jesus! Oh, dude, Deep Blue Sea was a summer movie. I thought I just looked it up.
You love Deep Blue Sea.
I love Deep Blue Sea. They're filming another one right now.
I like Deep Blue Sea too. Yeah, that one they're gonna film.
Good.
The new one is for sci-fi. I think it's gonna probably be during, or it could be probably during like that Shark Week on Discovery. So maybe they'll a combination, or under Sharknado. They'll probably like throw it in that lineup. I'm sure.
How do you not like Deep Blue Sea? Oh, it's a big Samuel Jackson monologue, and he gets eaten.
I'm whatever with Deep Blue Sea. All right, and be honest, how do you guys feel about Sharknado? Now it's over. Now it's overdrawn, but I think the first one was fun. Yeah, the first one was fun.
I mean, in a way, I thought it was interesting because it was a parody on it was like a horror / comedy. At the time, it was a novel idea at the time, and they took the idea and they ran it into the ground. I think it shouldn't have had a sequel. It should have just been.
You think you just one and done?
It should have just had just the original one, and then after that, it's shtick. It was done, and it's.
I'm all for keeping Tara Reid employed, so it's fine.
Dude, so Jen and I went to a convention last year, and Tara Reid was there, and Tara Reid looks like she weighs 45 pounds.
She is okay. So she used to, like, when I was like maybe between like 21 and 24. So every 4th of July, she would come down to Hermosa Beach and go to this one house, and she was just always a wreck, like a big train wreck.
Is that why you want her to stay employed?
But God, she was awful. Like, just like, I don't think I've seen someone more drunk every time I saw her on the 4th of July.
She actually so the way that this convention works, shout out to Monster Mania, is that they have signings from like 10 a.m. to like 5 p.m. So you have people, for someone as big a name as Tara Reid, you have people that are lined up for hours before the convention even open.
Is she a big name?
For them, yeah. I mean, they've gotten a lot bigger names now, but at that time, I think she was one of the biggest names they've gotten. And she left at 1 o'clock. And she didn't get through all her line.
Are you serious? She had like a promising career back in the day, I think, right? Like, she was fine in the start. Like,
I liked her in American Pie.
And American Pie. She was an urban legend.
It's funny. I feel bad for not including American Pie in my summer list because I enjoy it.
I didn't either.
I forgot.
I did include one teen comedy, but it's at the bottom.
It's probably not another teen movie, right?
No, it's not. I do not another teen movie, and I think that came out in December. I don't know why I know that. That's silly.
Did you guys check out that Spider-Man Homecoming is getting a lot of good reviews?
Is it still at 92? It was at 92 when I looked.
94.
That's awesome.
So the only discrepancy that from hardcore fans is that they changed a few of the main characters' mythology. So I know you guys. I mean, you guys are you read books. Are you a big, like, if they change main characters for film?
It depends, right? So it depends how they change it.
Okay.
Like, I think of for example, like I'm a fan of Game of Thrones, like all the books and stuff. Like, I've read all the books, and the changes they have made on the show are small enough and clever enough where it's like I'm not that worried. But then I've also seen other books that get altered in weird ways that it's just it's not true to the source material, and if it deviates too much, it's weird.
Like, sometimes I think it's good. Like Watchmen, I think the ending of the movie is better than the ending of the book.
Agreed. And like, I would say almost everything in the Watchmen in the film is almost exactly how it is in the book and the comic book and the
graphic novel. Yeah.
See, graphic novel.
CG, I gave props to Zack Snyder.
Wow.
You finally did.
It's hard to, though. It's so hard to, in my opinion.
No, it's terrible.
Jeez,
He's terrible.
Man. I don't know. He always had
He has two solid efforts.
Like what?
I like Dawn of the Dead. I like the Dawn of the Dead remake, and then I like Watchmen.
That's it.
That's it. No, well, remember I said that I thought Sucker Punch was okay.
Sucker Punch is garbage.
Horrific, man.
I like. Do you really honestly think that, or were you just messing around with us?
I don't remember hating it. Maybe I gotta watch it again. I saw it when it came out, and I don't remember.
It's funny because, like, looking back at it, you could even point back to Dawn of the Dead. Even in Dawn of the Dead, he had no color in it.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean,
and then I rewatch Watchmen, and my biggest issue with Watchmen is that it's way too long. I think. Yeah. I think but that movie has zero color. And the main logo is a goddamn yellow smiley face, and it looks like it's been sitting out in the sun for 4 years.
Oh wait, do we count 300?
Did he direct that?
Yep.
He did.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't.
And he wrote it.
Yeah.
So with 400 people.
I'm not a fan too much of 300.
I feel like he does a good job at adapting other works.
Yes.
So I know he did 300, and he also did The Watchmen and all that. So if he's adapting all their material, he does okay.
I think he's loyal to the source material at fault,
and
because
then,
I think that he relies so much that it takes any originality away from his mind, I think.
But I remember when I was seeing how's this movie called? The one that had all the girls who fought. I forget.
Sucker Punch.
Oh, right.
Sucker Punch.
I tried to like it. I was like in denial. It just says, "Oh, it looks cool," and
it did look cool.
I felt like it looked cool. I liked the action in it, and the storyline was kind of mediocre.
They got a lot of good girls in that movie too. Pity they wasted most of them.
Now, Serge is one person that you and I have to convince him on something. He has not seen Bates Motel yet.
No, no, wait a minute.
We have to get him. He saw the first season. I think that's what you told me, right?
I saw the first 2 episodes,
and they were bad.
And I was like, nope, not doing this.
First season is rough, I think, but it really picks up. G has been a fan since. I think he's one of the few people that I've spoken to about it that really like season 1 too, right, G?
I did. I will admit that the other seasons are better, but like I was all in from the start, pretty much. And this was someone that loved Psycho, and I was really worried about like, oh, why are they doing this? It's probably not going to be good. But even in the first season, even though the first season is kind of rough, and like I think the reason I stuck with it though is because Vera Farmiga and Freddie Highmore, they have 2 very good actors, and I was like, they're killing it, so I can wait for this to get better, and then it got better, like a lot better.
I mean, thanks to them mostly. But then everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I gotta give points to Max Thoreau too, because he doesn't get enough credit either.
I think they kept I think if the first season was all them, then we get to the second, third, fourth, and fifth, and everyone starts doing their part, and you start caring about every little character. In the show.
Integrate everyone into the main.
And if you're looking for a straight reboot of Psycho, it's not. It goes off the tracks a lot.
I'll give it a shot. I'll try it out.
I mean, I know people that think it's the worst series ever made, and I
think I was on that boat. I really tried with the show. I mean, because I like Psycho. It was a great concept, great movie, and then I thought, oh look, its origin story. This would be cool, but I don't know if like the acting, how the lines are delivered, the actual script. It just felt very like, I don't know, very
forced,
too forced, CW-ish. You know what I'm saying?
There's CW's, don't talk CW to G. CW is his network.
What stuff? What Arrow, The Flash, Riverdale, Legends of Tomorrow. Oh no! I watched way too much stuff on the CW.
Oh my god! I until The Flash and now Riverdale. I had not watched anything on the CW since like we were kids. Probably since we were in high school. What happened?
You don't like Arrow?
No, I didn't like Arrow. The last show I saw before The Flash, honestly, the last show I saw on the CW was Gossip Girl, and I think I was the only one around this area that watched it.
I think you try to convince me.
Yeah,
right?
Man, Gossip Girl was the shit, man.
You gotta watch this shit.
And it's still the shit because I'm watching it.
Like I watched it on the low. I would like me and Serge would go. Like me and Serge went to Rutgers University together, so we would be on the way to school, and I low key would be like, "Yo, watch Gossip Girl, man. Gossip Girl is the shit."
So shows like that, especially in LA, I mean, even though it's not set in LA, like they become like appointment television for people that are like our age. So like when that show started, like it didn't matter if you're a girl or a guy. There were just people that were just like, "Yo, are you watching Gossip Girl?" Like, yeah. So like we were like, first it was like low key conversation, and then it just turned into like, "Yo, we're having like viewing parties now." Like we used to do that for like the OC as well. We would have like viewing parties for the OC. And like that was what it was like for Gossip Girl too.
We were watching Jen and I were watching Entourage yesterday, and I think like 3 or 4 times she was like, "Oh my gosh, she's from the OC," or "This person from the OC," and I'm like, I guess I gotta watch the OC because everyone seems to be like on Entourage now.
I feel like you're gonna bag on the OC though. I'm scared to like have you watch it.
Do you watch Pretty Little Liars?
No, okay, so I decided until Riverdale, like I wanted to make it a point that I was like, after Gossip Girl, I was like, I'm not watching any more shows like this that I don't fall in that demographic, never watching shows like that again. And then when Pretty Little Liars started, I had friends that were like watching Gossip Girl, they were like, you should watch Pretty Little Liars. I was like, no, I can't. This is the last one. Can't do anymore. And for what I heard from people that watch Pretty Little Liars, that it started off kind of fun, and then it got ridiculous, like really, really ridiculous. Like people I know that like they like hate watch it.
I'm actually surprised that Jen has not seen Pretty Little Liars. That seems like such a Jen show.
It does actually seem like something you should like.
So I actually tried to watch it like a couple weeks back because I know it's like the last season and everything. So I thought about, I was like, let me give it a shot. It's on Netflix. Let's see what happens. So I got like maybe like 6 episodes in, and I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. Maybe I'm like too old already to be like into it. I don't know. And they really
still watch Riverdale.
And A is such a mean girl, and I mean, whatever if you're gonna be mean, but like I don't know. It was just like it was too much, like too like over the top, and I didn't stick with it. Like I got 6 episodes in, and I was like, I don't care about these people. I don't want to keep watching.
I heard the series was the series finale like this week, and I heard wasn't it terrible? Yeah. I heard.
Well, they revealed what it was, and I felt like I saw what the reveal was, and I feel like if I stuck with it for so long,
you'd be pissed.
I'd be a little annoyed. Also because I heard that they did a reveal maybe like 2 or 3 seasons back on something else, and when you think it's gonna be like the real reveal, and it's kind of like anyway. I heard that it really wasn't the ending. Kind of just opens up to what the show was really about. So what you think it's about, it's not really about.
That's terrible.
So I feel like that would have like irked the shit out of me. So anyway, I tried to give it a shot. It was okay. I wasn't like, but I do know I have friends that are obsessed with it, and like they absolutely love it. Like they'd watch it every Tuesday. Like it was like what they would do. So.
Well, it's funny what you said about feeling like you're too old to watch it, because I kind of, other than being like, I'm not going to watch a show like this anymore, like I kind of felt like I'm not going to like really be into this because I felt kind of too old to watch it. But then Riverdale happened, and then
that's how I felt. Like, I felt like that. That's one of the main reasons I didn't think I was going to get into Riverdale. I'm like, I swear I think I'm too old to watch these kids in high school. And then, like, I fell in love with Riverdale, and Riverdale was fucking awesome.
But Riverdale is like different though, because I feel like you also have the teenagers, and then you also have the adults. So you're not just like if it was just the teenagers, and I feel like Gossip Girl had that too. Because didn't you? I mean, I never watched Gossip Girl.
I didn't give a shit about.
But didn't you have also like and the OC?
Yeah,
another thing.
That was the thing about both of those shows.
Had teenagers, you had the issues, and then you also had the shit with their parents going on, which they were just as fucking crazy. I mean, Marissa's mother, her father was a hot mess.
I mean when
Dan's
dad married Serena's mom.
Seth's mom was like an alcoholic. Like there were just like all these things.
Marissa's mom slept with her boyfriend.
Oh my god, she slept with everyone.
Wait, so this person's mom slept with her boyfriend?
Oh, everyone, everyone. Just we'll add it to the list.
The first bad thing she did.
That was the first bad.
I don't even know if it's the first bad thing, but like one of the bad things she did was
with Luke, right?
Marissa was dating this guy Luke, and then they broke up.
Douchebag anyway.
And then like Luke was really missing Marissa and like seeked comfort from her mother.
Yeah.
And then the mom slept with him several times.
So I feel like Riverdale, it has that kind of combination where you have like this mystery, kind of like Twin Peaks. You don't really know what's going on. You had this murder set up. Then you also have all the stuff going on with the kids, and then you have with the adults just as much. And I kind of like how like a lot of the adults also knew each other in the town. It's a small town of Riverdale, and they, a lot of it doesn't go from the comic books, but it's inspired and it takes things here and there. It's darker than the comic books, but I think it's an interesting twist.
And I think season 2 is going to be the
really
show.
Well.
I think season 2 is going to be the year that it's going to blow up, because I see a lot of people on Facebook now that are posting like
all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
There are so many Instagram like fan accounts for people like with like Archie and Veronica and Bughead and just like everything.
I still tell Jen, I'm like, she needs to like get off this Bughead thing, because I think
they're so cute
episode
together.
1 it's a wrap. I bet you they break up by like by episode 5. I think.
Well, they're gonna do the regular teenage thing. They're gonna break up, and then they're gonna get back together, and then they'll break up again, and they're gonna get back together.
Which will only frustrate viewers.
It will, because I think they're adorable together. And in the comic, it would have never worked because Jughead was just not that character. But it just works really well, and I think it's because the actors have that chemistry, and the writing
they all
for
have
them
great
is really
chemistry.
great.
Do you like?
that whole cast actually works really well together.
Do you like who they casted as Josie and the Pussycats?
Yeah, I was fine with it.
I like the
I like the
Valerie
girl way better.
Is that the one?
Valerie's the one that dated Archie.
That I like her.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
actually like the actress for Valerie.
I guess Josie. I
the
don't like
actress
Josie.
for Josie, I'm not really a fan of, because like in the comic, Josie's like sweet, she's chill, she's cool, she's not really like
she's the bitch,
over ambitious, over hyped. I don't know.
Oh,
she's
every
like,
show needs that though.
No, the bitch on this show is.
Well, it's not fair to call her a bitch. She knows what she wants, and she wants to get it right, and she has her way. But I just I don't know, the attitude that she has, and she kind of comes off a little nasty with people.
She's kind of a bitch.
Well,
she's kind of a bitch.
So
I still like her. I like
so
her.
Josie herself, I'm like okay with, but I actually really like Valerie, and Melody is just kind of in the background for now until they do something.
But the real quote unquote bitch on the show is
Cheryl.
She is great.
I actually
she's
think
really good.
they cast her so well, and this actress blows it out of the water. Like if you read the comic, Cheryl is a huge bitch, and she thinks she's better than everybody, and she's got Archie around her finger. So actually, I'm curious to see how this turns out later on, because Cheryl eventually does date Archie. Like Archie's got his blonde, his brunette, and his redhead. So it'll be interesting to see. But Cheryl is a huge, they gave her some of the best lines and just those quips. And then she kills it.
Shout out to Riverdale when it takes home a lot of Teen Choice Awards this year.
And I actually do really like Kevin Keller.
It's about to win all the
It's going to win every Teen Choice Award this year.
I like Kevin Keller a lot, the guy that plays him too, because he does really well. And he's only a fairly recent comic character in the last 10 years. So good job.
And I'm have a mad crush on Camila Mendez, who plays Veronica.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. It's funny when the show first started, I was like, damn, Betty's cute. You're supposed to like her, but damn, Veronica is so hot.
Dude, we're in a group chat because a bunch of us watch it, and then the main topic every week, can we talk about Veronica though?
The only thing I don't like is her
eyebrows.
Her eyebrows.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that before. Her eyebrows.
Dave thinks they're too dark. I think it's just they're over with the CoverGirl. They're just lining them in a little too deep.
Yeah, too bad they have to, let us know how she does her makeup every single week.
Yeah, it's CoverGirl. I think I actually do. That bothered me a lot. Was they just kept product placement on CoverGirl and not even the behind the scenes commercials. I didn't care about that, but within the show, I think I saw in 2 frames just straight up shots to the makeup, and I was like, this is a little too much. You're too over. Too much.
Well, kudos to the CW because they are awesome. They know how to cast attractive people. That's their bread and butter.
Well, I mean, the WB did so well with their teen market. I mean, we had Dawson's Creek, we had all those shows that were on there, and then when they stopped kind of doing that for a little bit, I think their ratings went down. And then when they came back with the CW, and then now they know that they can go back to that teen market.
They can do that now because they have guaranteed ratings with Arrow and Flash and
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
is that they kind of repackaged it again, but there was a while in between that they weren't really a go-to channel anymore for a lot of people.
Yeah, because they really didn't know kind of what identity they were gonna have, and then Gossip Girl was their first really big hit, so they were okay, so we're gonna make shows like this. So they brought back 90210, and then they did Meryl's Place too, and they tried to have shows like that,
and none of them worked.
None of them worked, and then Pretty Little Liars happened in the middle of Gossip Girl, and everyone kind of fled over there, and they weren't really watching the shows that the CW was putting out. So eventually, they became what they are now, which is the superhero network. But it worked for them, and the cool thing is that while they were making all these big superhero shows, they would sneak in these kind of little critical shows Jane the Virgin or Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
I have to finish Jane the Virgin.
Jane the Virgin is so good.
I'm still on the first season.
Gina Rodriguez is awesome on that show. But actually the whole cast is awesome, but just to have someone like her leading that show is really good. I was really happy when she won the Golden Globe the first season that it was on.
I started to watch that. I like that it's kind of a balance of a novella and a parody.
Yeah,
it's kind of a combination,
and they do it so well.
It's just excellent.
Does that? Do you think? I mean, you're ahead of me because You just started, Serge?
I've seen probably half
and
the season.
You're up to date, right?
I'm up to date on it. Yeah.
Does that show have a lifeline?
What do you mean?
Do you think like it's almost? Do you think they're almost done?
I don't think so because I don't want to give anything away, but no, I don't think so. I think there's more to tell.
Because when I first started watching the show, and I'm like, this is really good, but I think this seems like one of those shows that after like 3 seasons, you're like, all right, I'm over it.
They actually like this last season. There is, I won't say what happens, but there's like really, really like, and I'm glad that people took notice of it. Run really strong episode like in season 3 that like kind of like if you were watching it and you kind of felt like, oh, I don't know if I'm into this anymore, like that episode would like totally bring you back. It's like it's funny, but then it's also sad. Like they handle like bouncing between drama and comedy really well, and this particular episode does that in a big way. And it also kind of makes me think that with how that episode ended and where they're kind of going with it, that there is more story to tell for her, and with just with other people.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, I'm glad that might stick around a couple of more seasons. I know what's almost done is Better Call Saul.
You know, I keep hearing people saying that it's as good as Breaking
it's
Bad.
as good.
Probably even better.
Not better, but it's as good.
I saw the first few episodes, and you see old cameos, right? You see the old characters from
Breaking
Bad, who show up in this one. I just have yet to finish it.
Every cameo that you see in Better Call Saul makes sense. It's not like one of those shows that, hey guys, here's a prequel. Let's just throw everyone in there. You see everyone slowly, and everyone works. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but it's Game of Thrones and Better Call Saul are to me the best 2 shows on television.
Now, is the entire show of Better Call Saul a prequel, or are
it's a whole prequel.
That
it's
take
kind of
place after
the beginning of the season? Always starts with a flash forward. To after Breaking Bad, when he's working at the Cinnabon. So then there's little things here and there for his life, but nothing to Breaking Bad. So you never really see anything with him and Walt and Jesse, anything like that.
Not yet,
so,
at least.
Not yet. But I mean, it's done so well, and Vince Gilligan just knows what he's doing with with like how he shoots his shows. It's so good.
I've been a fan of his ever since he got his start on X-Files. He used to write episodes on X-Files.
I didn't even know that. I'm like so 50-50 with the X-Files.
I mean, yeah, it does have its horrible episodes. Like I remember they had this episode on X-Files where the whole thing is basically it takes place in like a video game or something. Okay. And but it's also like early 90s video games. Okay. So it was,
that reminds me of
horrible plot.
That reminds me of I don't know if you guys have seen this, the Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where the little boys get stuck in the pinball machine and they have to escape.
That's a solid episode.
I think they have so many good solid episodes that you're just like, damn, this show was so ahead of its time.
Surprised they haven't redone it.
Speaking of remakes, I was seeing old episodes of Space Cases, aka Star Trek for Kids.
Oh my God, the Black Power Rangers on that show.
Yes, the Black Power Ranger, and then there was a girl. I think they were supposed to make her into a big deal, but it didn't work. But Space Cases was awesome.
It was awesome, man. I was so hooked on that show. That's how I became a space nerd, dude.
That's what got you into Star Wars?
Speaking of space nerds, have you watched The Expanse yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, have you?
I have not watched it. I heard it's good.
Oh, you got to watch that, man. I want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil anything.
No spoilers.
It's just fantastic.
So we'll pen that for next time. Now, welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody.
Lewis decided to get us all coffee today, so he's a little late. He's fashionably late.
Very fashionably late, by the way.
You missed our Gossip Girl discussion.
I see what's already being replaced in here. What's up, Serge?
Yo, what's going on? Actually, you know what? I remembered when I was hanging out at your house, Lewis, and you would always be like, yo, Serge, have you watched that new episode of Gossip Girls? And I'm like, why? No.
First of all, that's the worst impression of me ever.
It was.
Lou,
I would know he was talking about you.
Lou, who got you into Gossip Girl?
David Jizzle.
There you go.
Because it was good.
Because it's so good. Too bad you're
So
not
good.
Too bad you don't want to listen to watch. Gaius has never seen Breaking Bad.
Wait, what? You serious?
No, I've never seen it. Or
Can
Game
we
of
talk
Thrones.
about this show for a second? All right. So I used to manage a theater in New Jersey, and I remember how David.
Oh no, you're gonna do that.
He'd always he'd come into my job, and we would talk about this show. Like, I'm like, yo, dude, you gotta watch it. It's Breaking Bad. It's fantastic. And David would always be like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I saw the first 2 episodes. I wasn't a big fan. I didn't like it. And I'm like, dude, like, see it, please. Like, and then at the end of the show, after it's been concluded, he sees the whole thing, and he's like, oh wait, I think you were right about Breaking Bad. It was okay.
It took food poisoning to get me to start watching it.
It was okay.
No, it was the second. To me, it's the third. It's my number 3 show of all time.
Okay.
So,
like in the history of TV.
Yes, guys. Over Buffy.
Is it that good?
oh, dude, it's better than Buffy.
No. You just lost me.
It's better than Buffy. It's for real.
You just lost me.
I know you love Xander a lot, but there's no Xander on here. Serge, I don't know if you knew this, but Gaius loves Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
So if you're a fan of that show, are you also a fan of all the? Wait a minute. How about Firefly?
I like Firefly. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Not as much as Buffy, but yeah, Firefly.
I'll accept that. That's fine. That's fine. That's cool.
I even like the movie. I like Serenity as well.
Yeah, I mean it's upsetting that it just had a single season. It should have been on for like 8 more seasons.
Fox.
But
Fox sucks with sci-fi shows. They pimp
bad.
them out for like the first few months they're on, then they're like, oh, let's just like dump it on Friday. And like, yeah, no one's gonna watch it on
that's
Friday.
a shame.
You want it to die.
And now the
Dollhouse too.
and now the actor who played the he was a priest or like a pastor, I think, on the show, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he just passed away like a year ago, right? So,
Yeah.
So I don't think we have any chance for
to bring it
a
back.
season 2.
They're never gonna bring that back. Oh, by the way, speaking of remakes, I would hope they never, ever, 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 ever touch Buffy, ever.
You know,
they've talked about.
Here's the thing: you better prepare yourself for it because you know there's a movie coming. I don't think they're gonna remake the show. I would say in 5 years there'll be a Buffy movie,
And that would be Judgment Day for guys. Right?
Oh God, I would. All right. During the 20th anniversary, they asked everyone like, would you be up for like, because they're like, oh, they're rebooting all these shows and like their movies and stuff, like, would you be up for it? And some of them said it would depend on who was involved. Like Joss Whedon would have to be involved, but Joss Whedon says he would never. He's continued that story on in like comic book form.
What if David Fincher takes it up and makes his dark ass Buffy?
Make all dark ass Buffy movie. And then all of them said that they couldn't see it being done without Sarah Michelle Gellar. So they were like, she's essential to that part now. Like they can't see it being done without her either.
Well, you know what I'm gonna say. If they do it with SMG, do you think it'll be like the whole your daughter thing? Like, is the vampire?
It could be, but she actually made a good point about that show, and basically saying like it would be weird for her to be on it as an adult now. Like there's something about that show that works, in the high school, college, young adult years, like that made sense for the character and for the show. Like I think it kind of be weird too to see her doing it now, like as a real, like a full-fledged adult. Yeah. Like in late 30s. Like it would. I think it's something about that show that kind of was of its time, and like it would have to be, in that time period where she's younger, which is my biggest concern. Is like if they rebooted it, of course they would like recast it and it'd be like a young cast again,
and then poor G is gonna be very sad.
And I would watch it out of morbid curiosity, but I would not. Even if I thought it was like all right, I don't think I would stand by it. But.
Awesome. So, as always, we sidetracked. And going back to our main topic of the day.
Of a sidetrack, I know I missed the Baby Driver.
Yes.
The consensus, everybody likes the movie.
Loved it.
Everybody?
Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
That's why I wasn't here.
Yeah, that's why we.
I was on intern duties.
I have, what? I mentioned that movie at work because I manage a restaurant and stuff, and like we're right by a movie theater, and everyone's like coming in. Like we usually ask people, like, "Oh, you're in the movies. What are you seeing?" And I mentioned Baby Driver and like to several people, and some of them didn't even hear of it. They didn't even know what it was.
It's not the most flattering title if you don't know what the hell the movie's about, or if you're not really like a film buff. A casual moviegoer is gonna be like, "What the fuck is that? Like, what the fuck is Baby Driver about?" Like, it sounds like a bad teen movie.
I think I heard other people say that it's basically like how people thought like
Drive.
Yeah,
that's what we was talking about before.
Yeah.
That it's basically what everyone thought Drive was gonna be.
Yeah, because
they're both
more
good,
action packed.
So. But Lou,
What's up?
summer blockbuster time.
Sergio, did you bring a list?
I don't have a list.
No, but he's chiming in. All right, so
looking forward to chimes in.
Before we get to the best and honorable mentions, I'm just gonna run through my 5 worst.
Okay, I got 5.
All right, G, one of your favorites maybe on this list.
Oh God,
I hated to put this on number 5 because I have a soft spot and I love this movie. Number 5 is Batman and Robin. It's I hated to put on the list, but it's not a good movie.
That definitely made my worst.
It's up there.
My number 4 is Godzilla from 1998.
That's a good one.
My number 3 is Jaws: The Revenge.
Fantastic movie.
My number 2 is Super Mario Brothers.
That came out during the summer.
Yeah. It came out. No, you know the rotten luck that it had. It came out the week before Jurassic Park.
Wait a minute. If that's your number 2,
Dun, dun, dun.
What's my number 1?
yeah, what's your number 1, dude?
Shout out to Jen's mama Lena. I'm sorry, but her favorite actor John Travolta stars in Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth was incredible.
Dude, our
Incredibly
list
bad.
is so similar.
Battlefield
Our list
Earth,
is very
and
similar.
it's like I wanted to see if it. I'm the type of person that likes self-torture, so I wanted to watch it to see if it was as bad as people said it was. Dude, the whole movie is shot like at an angle. And I'm like, there's like no straight shot the entire movie.
A lot of the characters are just like kind of like awkward laughing the whole movie. It's kind of weird.
All right, Lou, what's your 5 worst? Throw those out real quick.
All right. Well, we got one that we got coming, but 5 worst are The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Is that
5.
the Eddie Murphy movie?
I think that's the movie that lost. I think it holds a record for the most money lost of any movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Poor Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, that was. What was the basis of that movie?
Garbage, but that's like the pinnacle of.
Was that based on a TV show or something?
It had like the weirdest storyline. I forgot what it was.
I can't remember.
Didn't it have like it had a crazy big budget too? Like it was like stupid.
I think it only made like $1 million back or something. It was something really small. Number 2 is Green Lantern. Number 4 is Green Lantern. The CGI suited Green Lantern, played by Deadpool.
I'd love to know what went on in that suit, like in those meetings. Like Dark Knight, real suit. Iron Man, real suit. Captain America, real suit, or whatever. Green Lantern, CGI.
To be fair,
Green Lantern's not that bad.
To be fair about Green Lantern, his power, his ring power allows him to create things right, like out of his ring. So perhaps his suit, it doesn't have to be a real suit. It could just be like, you know what I'm saying? Like he projects a suit onto him. Hence, am I making sense here, guys?
No, you are.
This is what happens when we have a
I'm picking up what you're talking.
This is what happens when we get a psychologist on the air.
Jesus Christ.
He doesn't have to have a suit. He can try to project a suit on his body because he has that ring power, man. Right?
I'll just say it looks really bad, even though if he did, he could have projected it a little better.
Well, here's the deal. I'm gonna give a little shout out to Lori real quick because
shout out to Lori.
Shout out to Lori because Lori, I'm always like, yeah, it's not that bad, and she just immediately just goes like, you're just distracted by brunette Blake Lively. That's all you care about. And I was like, that could.
By the way, is that where they met?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I think he was still with Scarlett Johansson at the time too.
Wait, Ryan Reynolds was a Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah. He's had some. I mean, I like Blake Lively. I prefer Blake Lively.
It never really worked.
Jen, what?
Jen's like, it never really worked.
It never really worked. But Blake Lively, good. You know what? Good for him though. It was a huge flop. No one liked Green Lantern except for me, I think. But he met his lady there, and they got married.
And he got something out of it.
He got something out of it. They both were like, and now they're both better for it. Their careers have been pretty successful post Green Lantern.
There you go. I think my number 3.
But I will say that I still enjoyed it a little bit more than other people did. I didn't think it was like, as we say, hot garbage.
I fell asleep both times I watched it. But my number 3 is one of Sergio's favorite movies ever, Speed Racer.
It was all style and no substance, I think.
Yeah. Was that a Wachowski brother movie?
It was.
They haven't made anything good since the Matrix.
Yeah, that's true. Not even made anything in the Matrix, but the Matrix is
the
good.
sequels, yeah. And aren't they like women now? I think.
Wait,
like,
what?
I think no. I think Wachowski is, I believe, transgender now, or
yeah.
I mean, I might be wrong. Please don't.
No. I think you're right. Right. Yeah. I just wouldn't like casually bring that up. I think you're right.
My next one is one of the best DC movies ever made. It's Catwoman.
I didn't put it on my list. I've never seen it.
Catwoman. That would have made my worst list too.
Can we talk about the basketball scene?
I've never seen
Catwoman.
It's so bad, but it's so good.
all of us have to watch that scene over again. It was. I mean, probably like in top 3 like awkwardest scenes ever made in the history of film. Yeah. It was pretty bad.
Man, I'll give Halle Berry credit though. I loved when she accepted her Razzie Award and like basically mocked her like Oscars.
Yeah, big prop.
Yeah, she like basically was like, I'm so happy to be the first black woman to receive the Razzie Award. Like it was funny. At least I like when they go and show up and actually.
Does that mean your number one is Batman and Robin?
No, my number 1 is Battlefield Earth.
Oh,
I didn't put. I enjoy Batman and Robin.
So do I.
To put it on my worst.
Well, I'm sorry. It's on my list.
I just enjoyed too much for me to be my worst. But Battlefield Earth was atrocious. Shout out to L. Ron Hubbard's masterpiece right there.
It's so and
it's Travolta funded.
It's boring.
Shout out to Scientology.
Shout out to Tom Cruise.
Even Tom Cruise knew to stay away from it. He was like, "Nah, man.
How much?
I do so much for you guys already." Does anyone know
how much he lost in that movie?
No, Travolta
Yeah,
lost.
Travolta. How much did Travolta lose on that movie? Does anyone know that?
Yeah. I don't know. Does anyone know what's the budget on Battlefield?
While Lou's checking that out, what are your worst?
Okay, so worst, I have Speed 2 Cruise Control at number 5.
Shout out to Jen.
That's Jen's favorite movie.
I know Jen loves
Speed 2 Cruise Control.
My mind cannot wrap around calling a movie Speed and having it take place on a cruise ship that doesn't go fast at all. At all. It doesn't make any sense. But I will also give credit to Sandra Bullock for admitting that it was a total paycheck movie. She knew it was bad, but they threw $15 million at her, and she was like, you can't really turn that down. But it's pretty bad. Like you can tell when you're watching it that the main reason Speed worked, one is like a solid action movie, but the chemistry between her and Keanu Reeves is also one of the things that makes most of that movie work. And not trying to diss Jason Patrick or anything, because he's all right. He's just kind of there.
Jason Patrick is one of the crankiest people I've ever seen in person.
he just looks perpetually cranky.
I was this was at the same convention. He's there signing autographs and meeting people, and I don't smile much in pictures. It's just a natural thing I do.
You don't smile much in real life.
I don't. That's true. But he looks really angry in every picture I saw him take. It's just like he hates his career, apparently.
I'm so angry. I'm so rich and famous.
He doesn't like talking about the Lost Boys. I hate when people don't like talking about movies that are like everyone loves. But everyone kind of like, oh yeah, that's like one of my favorite movies. Like you mentioned the Lost Boys, and he gets all like, I've done other stuff.
Aren't they supposed to make a remake of the Lost Boys?
Yes.
The
TV show
has been trying. The CW has been trying to get it off the ground, and they don't want to give up on it because they passed on it this pilot season, but they want the creator of it to rework the pilot.
I think it's too late.
It's
way
not
too late.
And I think they're trying to basically the Vampire Diaries is gone, and they kind of want to replace that. They have the Originals, which is another vampire show, but that's probably after this season going to be done, I'm assuming. So they want something to replace it, and I don't know why they think the Lost Boys would be. I just don't. I've always been surprised they haven't remade the Lost Boys already. I think of all the kind of '80s movies like that. I feel like some studio person. I'm surprised they haven't been like, yo, let's remake this. It'd be good.
I always have a very, very soft spot for the Lost Boys. The soundtrack is great.
I can watch that movie over and over again. It's so good.
And that reveal at the end, I didn't really see coming. So
yeah, because they trick you. They trick you with a whole like, oh, already in the house, like they poured shit on him. The garlic thing didn't work,
which was really funny when you actually watch that scene. It's actually pretty funny.
It's really funny too because I love when he turns and looks at Corey Feldman. He's like, "Did you know that?" He was like, "Of course, everybody knows that." Like, yeah, it's a really nice reveal.
For sure. All right, G, what's your 4 through 1?
All right, I have a recent one on Independence Day. Resurgence is at number 4. And the worst thing about it is that it takes itself so seriously. It's not even fun. It's like the polar opposite of what the first one is.
Yeah, for real.
At 3, hold on, I gotta scroll back to my list real quick. I have Prince of Persia, came out May 28th. Does that count?
Yeah, of course.
Didn't like it.
I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, you don't need to.
No,
at all.
It's during Disney's rough time for live action movies.
Like John Carter and. Ugh.
Was that like what year was that?
Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia. One second. I want to say was that 2011?
Oh, so it was during the Marvel days, but it looks like Marvel was the only thing that they were doing well at the time.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh wait, 2010.
Awesome.
So yeah.
All right. I don't know. Where's tell me Batman and Robin is not number 1.
It is definitely number 1, and Battlefield Earth is number 2.
What? Oh,
yeah. Batman and Robin's not. We can all talk about it and laugh and say that it's so bad that it's good, but it ruined the whole franchise, dude.
But do you honestly think Battlefield Earth is a better movie than Batman and Robin?
It took down a whole franchise.
Battlefield Earth took down a whole religion.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I don't know, man. I can't stand by it and be like, oh well, no, I just can't.
That hurts my heart,
dude. I think Batman and Robin and Speed 2 Cruise Control came out within like a week of each other.
I didn't know that.
So it was an awful week.
Kind of like this summer so far, until most recently.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we have to rely on everything that's coming out in July to kind of make up for it.
I think Planet of the Apes and what we have so far is going to make up for it.
Is this our like worst summer movie season in a while?
Yeah, I would say so. I think this is one of the first. I think this is one of the worst first halves of the year that we've had in a while.
Well, my friend was saying it doesn't even he's like the summer movie season is not special anymore because you're getting big movies in March. Stuff like Beauty and the Beast, a movie like Beauty and the Beast making $500 million here, and that came out in March. I mean, that's not usually you didn't really see that before. It's just they're releasing blockbusters earlier and earlier. I think
that's the comic book effect because you don't want the last thing you want to do is release a movie when a comic book movie drops because that's just selling yourself short of making any money.
Right.
So.
And why do they eat these movies up overseas? Because I think it's funny that they certain things will be flopping hard here, like The Mummy or Transformers even. But then you read but it made $400 million overseas. What? I wonder what they love about those kind of movies.
I have no idea. They love Tom Cruise.
They love Tom Cruise. They apparently love Johnny Depp too, because Pirates has made 600 something.
I told you when I saw it, I didn't mind this one at all. I really thought it was. I don't like the second one as much as you do. I remember we spoke about it, but I think this one does a nice job of closing everything up.
Yep.
So, but we'll get to some of our best. And you mentioned Pirates before.
Let's go to Battlefield Earth budget.
Oh.
So we started at 73 million.
All right, how much did it make?
I think Travolta added 25 million to that.
Okay.
A little more probably. It made a whopping 21 million. Yeah.
And that's not even counting how much they spent on marketing and promoting.
And that's not even counting how many people saw the movie and converted over to Scientology. Because right?
No, that's exactly
I think that was a part of it, right? Because he was the guy who wrote the book
story,
also created Scientology. It was a propaganda movie.
Hey, why is Forrest Whitaker in it? There's some
decent people in there. Forrest Whitaker, wasn't he in?
There are.
He was in some
and go this is gonna be good.
Well, we all know it did not live up to the hype.
It has an amazing 2.4 out of 10 on IMDb.
I think it's single digits on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's crazy.
So, all right, moving on to our best. I have a few honorable mentions. Actually, I have a good amount of honorable mentions here. And here we go. I'm sure you both have some of these movies on your 10, but it's all good. One of my honorable mentions is Independence Day.
What?
There you go.
It's like the fine summer blockbuster.
Whoa, it's not even an honorable mention?
Not on my list.
It's not on your list at all?
Nah.
God.
Yeah.
Do you not remember being excited when that? Oh God.
Oh, then no, that has to be an honorable mention for me. You don't like that movie?
I like it. Just,
you didn't have like a fun time?
there were 15 other movies I put above that.
Damn.
What? Ugh.
Another honorable mention for me is Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl.
That's a good one.
Deathly Hallows Part 2. The Avengers. Mad Max Fury Road.
Wait a minute. Stop.
Oh yeah. That's solid 7.
Solid 7.
Is that in your top list?
No,
or
the
your
honorable
bottom
mentions.
list?
Honorable
mentions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I almost got offended there.
No,
I
no.
thought you were talking about the bottom list.
No.
Like, how dare you, sir?
And my last honorable mention is Superman 78.
No comment.
That's pretty good honorable mention list, actually.
Yeah. You're probably going to hate my 10 then.
I'm still stuck on the fact that Independence Day is not on our boys list at all.
Damn right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not
You wanna
even.
go through my honorable
Yeah,
mentions?
I gotta
I'm
hear
like, yo,
this.
let me
I gotta
start
hear
with-
this. This is like Friday, next Friday, Friday after next.
All of the Fridays.
You serious?
No.
Oh,
Baggage
I didn't
Fame,
know they
Soul
came out- I don't
Plane.
think they came out this summer.
I don't know.
I think
I'd have
maybe
to
one
look.
of them came
I'd
out.
have
I
to
think
look
Soul
into it.
Plane came out during the summer. I think Soul Plane was a summer movie.
Soul Plane did not make my honorable mention. My honorable mentions are Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl,
Okay.
Edge of Tomorrow,
Nice.
Inglourious Bastards.
That's a summer movie?
That's a summer movie.
Holy shit. I didn't know that was a summer movie.
Yeah,
at all.
Gladiator
Eh.
and Minority Report.
Oh, so good. Okay.
Oh, no,
I'm fine
Minority
with
Report
being
is so
honorable
good.
Independence Day can suck it.
I love Minority Report. Yeah, Soul Plane came out May 20th. If you guys want to like throw that in there, just in case.
Throw that to your honorable mention. All right, G.
You can also-
What are your honorables?
You can also throw in Big Mama's House too.
I like the first Big Mama's House.
Oh, the first one's hilarious.
The second one
That's
is
when we were
ass.
okay with. There's 3 of them. Awesome.
Is the third one made for TV?
That one's with Brandon-
No, it went to the theater.
Oh.
No, not Brandon B. Jackson.
Yeah, that guy that's in the Percy Jackson movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't even touch Percy Jackson. G, what are your honorables?
You're not a Percy Jackson fan?
Nah, the first one's fine. That's about it.
All right, I have Twister as honorable mention.
I've never seen Twister.
This is good.
What? How you never seen Twister?
I do own it, but I just haven't plugged it in
It's
yet.
just been chilling, collecting dust.
Chilling. I have so many of those that I gotta get to.
Oh man. All right. So I have Deathly Hallows Part 2 as an honorable mention,
Yeah.
only because I have another Harry Potter movie that's on the actual list.
Damn. Can't believe Azkaban made it.
Oh yeah, it did. I have AI, artificial intelligence.
Oh, gee, I hate that movie.
Why? It's so good. What?
We've come to the point where we can now name someone else that I hate in Hollywood.
Here we go. Give us a name.
I cannot stand Haley Joel Osment.
Haley Joel Osment is so good in that movie, though. Like, he's good as a cat. Oh, he is. And he was good in The Sixth Sense. I know you don't... whatever.
All right, keep it going.
He had a lot. That's a lot of depth for, like, a kid to have. Like, whatever. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
What don't you like about it, other than Haley Joel Osment?
I was a little bored, and I think he's very annoying in the movie to me.
It's just as annoying as the talking computer robot thing from that one.
Shut your whore mouth with a talking computer.
So, do you know about the talking computer guy?
So, guys has never seen.
curious.
G has never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey,
Oh wow, dude.
and he loves to shit on it.
No.
And he said, and he said, Mad Max Fury Road is a solid 7. And
It
then
was good. I just
Sir, we have
wasn't
never
like-
met, but we are already enemies.
like it was. You act like I hated it. It was good. I just didn't love it the way everyone else seemed to like love it. I
oh,
didn't understand all the Academy Award nominations. I was like, all right, whatever. It's
here's
fine, I guess.
here's another one that you both are gonna shit on me for an honorable mention. I totally forgot to mention it. Terminator 2: Judgment Day is not on my list.
Shitting has commenced.
What? What?
Shit.
Someone throw something at him right now.
I forgot to mention it's an honorable mention. Just missed my list.
I have Batman Returns as honorable mention as well.
I'll give you that because I completely forgot about Prison of Azkaban. You guys just reminded me.
Yeah.
I feel bad now.
I didn't want to like disrespect Harry Potter and put 2 honorable mentions, so I just rather leave it at 1 and call it a day.
I completely forgot about those movies.
Yeah, so when it came down for me with Deathly, because I love Deathly Hallows Part 2, but like, as you know, like Prison of Azkaban has like a special place in my heart, and I was like, I can't really, I want to put that on the list, but I can't really not talk about Deathly Hallows Part 2, so that's why it ended up being an honorable mention.
No doubt.
Because it's a solid movie.
Oh,
and then I had Batman Returns as an honorable mention as well.
Yes, that was June as well.
And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. So I'll kick it off because I'm sure my number 10 already
way
gets
too excited for this. I'm worried.
Because I think you both are gonna destroy me today.
There we go.
My number 10 is The Lion King.
Solid. It's good.
No?
Yeah.
That's good.
G's like trying to find a way to shit on me right now, but he's like, "Oh, The Lion King's so good."
No, because it's on my list. But you know what? It made my list last minute because I kind of forgot. Like some of these I forgot came out during the summer. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, actually, Lori, another shout out to Lori. Lori was like, "What, Lion King?" And I was like, "The Lion King." Oh yeah, it did come out during the summer, and I like kicked something else off. Didn't put Lion King there.
There you go.
So the reason
at least it's on your list, though.
The reason Lion King is on the list and Aladdin isn't, because Aladdin's my number 1, is because I saw The Lion King in theaters. I don't have a theater experience memory of Aladdin.
Okay.
The Lion King, I saw it in theaters, and I was just like,
bawling your eyes out.
No, I was a kid, man. I wasn't bawling my eyes out.
Out.
I was just like, I loved everything, and even I guess that was one of the first experiences I had that I made me realize that I love music and film, because the music in The Lion King is so great, and the whole story of Scar Mufasa is just fantastic, and then Simba overcoming the odds. He did a John Cena, and then just becoming king at the end. It's just top notch stuff.
I don't get the John Cena reference.
Overcoming the odds. John Cena over.
You made a wrestling reference.
There you go.
There's your quota.
There you go. No, but I mean, John Cena's an actor now, so you can't. John Cena's an actor now, so it's not just a wrestling reference. So, but yeah, Lion King is.
I'm so glad I landed on the summer movie, so you can't throw it on your list.
Wait, that what?
I'm so glad La La Land's on a summer movie, so you can't throw it on your list.
Number 1 and 2.
No.
Number 1. He's like, yeah, La La Land is something you can appreciate year round. So yeah,
La La Land is something you can appreciate year round. Hold that, son.
It is. I'm not talking smack. You know I like it.
I know. All right.
It's my second favorite last year.
So my number 10 is The Lion King. Lou, you're up.
All right. Lou's number 10 is RoboCop.
Shut the fuck up.
Why shut
the fuck up? You
don't like RoboCop?
Oh my fucking god.
Wait, pause. Is that the first RoboCop or the one that just came out a few years ago?
First RoboCop.
Oh yeah, I was about to turn on you if it was a remake. I was like,
not the remake.
The remake had Michael Keaton though.
It wasn't a bad remake though.
Yeah, I have it.
Did you see it?
Yeah, because Michael Keaton's in it.
It's awful, dude.
It wasn't that bad.
It's fine. It's better than Green Lantern.
It's just no, it's not.
It's better than Green
It's
Lantern.
way better than Green Lantern.
I was disgusted by the RoboCop remake.
It felt like a drama.
I actually think
so much an
RoboCop
action
is
movie.
one of the best action movies ever made. I think it's so good.
What, the original RoboCop?
Smart. Yeah, it's so smart too.
I love the scene. I do love the scene in RoboCop when I think when he's already RoboCop and he's going to that factory and that guy just melts in that
the acid. Yeah,
in the acid. Yeah. So creepy.
You making that weird noise.
Yeah,
so gross.
That's what I liked about the first one. It was so like gruesome when the guy got shot up in the office. I forgot what that robot was called.
Ed 209.
Ed 209. He got shot up in the office. The acid scene. Like, that movie just had some of the best kills in cinema history.
Okay.
You have 20 minutes to comply. It doesn't turn off.
And then it just goes downhill. Isn't one of them in the hood?
I think they're all in the hood, man. It's Detroit.
They're all in Detroit.
But like, there's a scene. There's a final scene.
Or a leprechaun.
There's a final scene in one of them that literally I think takes place in the hood. Or am I mistaken that for Meteor Man?
It was in Detroit.
But like in the actual like projects,
it's in Detroit.
It's everywhere.
I'm not going to insult the entire city of Detroit and saying it's one project. Yeah, we have.
I haven't been to Detroit.
We have been to Detroit.
I like how
it's not all the hood.
Right. So we just blatantly diss Detroit. Like the whole thing is hood.
Lewis is like just destroyed the city of Detroit. Shout out to Detroit.
No, I think
Go
in RoboCop 2. I think in RoboCop 2 there is an actual. This sounds really weird because like to me the whole movie takes place in the hood, but there is actually like an actual scene I think that does take place, as you said, like in the hood.
In the hood. That's what I'm saying. That's why I wasn't sure which one it was. The third one. Have you guys seen the third one?
Yeah.
The third one's hot garbage.
Yeah, it's hot garbage. So bad.
I just want to give a shout out because I actually did not put RoboCop on my list, and I'm kind of upset I didn't even mention it as I mentioned. But Kurtwood Smith is like one of the best villains ever in that movie. He plays Clarence Bonner.
Yeah.
And guy with the glasses. Oh, he's just so good. I think he's better than like I guess there is like a main villain like the guy that's running everything, but like he's so fun to watch. Love that dude. And he's on That 70s Show, which is like one of my favorite comedies.
Awesome.
So, I don't know if you guys ever watched That 70s Show.
Let's start your 10. What's your number 10?
I have the original Spider-Man at number 10.
Over 2?
No. Two's on my list, but like
you got both of them. You went there.
Wow.
I went there.
That's a.
Should I have not gone there?
No. What you have on your list?
There's a couple. All of them.
What's crazy is I only have 2 superhero movies on my list.
I think so do I. That's what I'm asking.
And I definitely know what one of them is, and it's probably your number 1. Oh no.
No, it's not.
Never mind. No. Fuck. I thought about it.
But I totally feel
they're
like,
from the same universe.
Yes, they are. I totally feel your love for that movie.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, for Spider-Man. Like I thought that William Dafoe was so good as a villain. I mean, he was a little over the top in some scenes, but I think he played the role so well. And then shout out to the late great Macho Man Randy Savage because he was Bonesaw in the movie.
I think it was.
Oh yeah.
I think it was an important movie because I think at the time a lot of the superhero movies weren't. It wasn't taken as you know. It was seen as like a side
and it wasn't
show.
and it wasn't
seen as like a
either
fluke almost. And then Spider-Man came out, and it was like, wait a minute, it's good for all ages. It's entertaining, and it's cool. And I feel like all the Spider-Man, like all those films, kind of have kick-started a lot of today's Hollywood.
I think the reason why I remember it fondly too is like, we've all gone to see like some movies and stuff. We all like remember certain things fondly about them, but I feel like Spider-Man kind of reignited the whole like summer, like being excited to see like a movie during the summer. Like I just remember like everyone I knew wanted to see it, and then like it was also like to go piggyback off what you're saying, like for superhero movies, even though you had stuff like Blade and X-Men that like made money.
Yeah, Spider-Man
but there was something about
it
that was so much big. It became much bigger than even those movies were, where it was just like, I think Spider-Man was like, it was like the number 1 domestic opening for a long time.
114.
Like, it's so weird now. Yeah, it's so weird now because you have movies that make like 200.
Yeah, it was 114 until Vinny Chase and Aquaman took it down.
Oh, so yeah. So it was like a really. I think it's actually more important than people give it credit for, as far as being able to do those movies right.
Agreed.
And I feel bad giving most of the credit to Spider-Man because I do like X-Men and I do like Blade, but there was something about Spider-Man that set apart
Spider-Man
from
drew
those
the crowds in, and then we took off from
Yeah.
there.
I think Spider-Man had that appeal where it appealed to everyone, right? Just kids, adults, teenagers, nerds, and the casual viewer. Like it's demographic. Included everyone.
I love how people. I mean, I'm gonna get more into it because you say 2 is on your list as well. When you get to number 2, I have more to say about this. But I love how people nowadays have such short-term memory when it comes to like Spider-Man, and they shit on it and they think it's terrible. And I'm like, but what? Like, I can't sit like you say you're defend Batman v Superman, but you're gonna say Spider-Man's terrible.
I think the problem is that Spider-Man has been it had its trilogy. It was remade, and now it's remade again. Now it has another remake. So I think it's everybody is just kind of tired of the Spider-Man. I mean, although I do hear that the
new one's
great. New one is good.
So moving on to number 9. I think I'll get a shit for this from UG because it's a little low on my list. My number 9 is Raiders of the Lost Ark. No shit from you.
Oh, that's pretty low.
Yeah, I figured.
That's pretty low though. It's low.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I thought it would be high.
I rewatched it the other day, and I thought it was so fun. Like, that movie is one of those movies that kicks off right away with that whole boulder scene when he's stealing that piece that he stole, and you just had that giant boulder just go after him, and it kicks off from there. And that's one of the iconic scenes of that movie, but it has nothing to do in reality with the plot of the movie. It just kind of introduces you to his, like, the guy that's screwing Indy over. What I did notice from this movie that I didn't notice because I hadn't seen it in a while is that it's actually not. It's very slow paced. It's not action. You have that first scene, and then it's nicely paced till we get to the end, and you have Indy battling Nazis. It's just so much fun, and Harrison Ford is great in it. So there's not much negative to say. And shout out to Alfred Molina, who has like a cameo in like the first 2 minutes of the movie. He's in that first scene of the movie.
Oh yeah, he is.
So shout out to Doc Ock. All right, you're number 9, Lou.
My number 9 is Batman '89.
It's a little low.
Summer of Batman.
It's a little low on the list.
Wow. Well,
yeah, low. That movie is important to the whole summer movie.
Yeah, that movie is way too important.
Yeah, that movie definitely made its own summer movies. It was his own summer based around that movie. I mean.
I'll save my comments for later.
I don't got your comments saved, but for me, it's my number 9.
Awesome.
It's fantastic. We talked endlessly about this movie.
Yes,
already,
we have.
We'll go to
detail later.
Talk about.
All right,
guys.
This is number 9, right?
Geez, yeah, you're number 9.
I'm probably gonna get shit for this, but I got Top Gun at number 9. Yeah, I know. Top Gun's fun.
Away, man. Take my break.
Here's the thing. So here's the deal. I didn't see Top Gun until a year ago, but I think with the experience,
really,
I saw it at the. Yeah, we have like this rooftop cinema thing in Hollywood.
Oh, that's dope.
And they show like basically like old like movies and stuff, and that's when I saw it for the first time. And I think just because the crowd I saw it with, like they were like quoting it before, like they would quote lines before they happened. They like knew all like the music cues and stuff, and I just being in that environment while watching it kind of made me enjoy watching the movie a lot more. And I've actually seen it several more times since then. But yeah, a year ago was the first time.
I think first time experiences with movies help a lot with like whether it makes a list too.
Yeah. Like I actually didn't even feel bad that I was kind of like left out of a movement a little bit. They made me kind of feel like I was a part of it, even though I didn't know what certain things were coming and whatever. Like everyone there just was like immersed in it. Thought it was like the best movie ever made.
It's kind of like this has nothing to do with summer movies, but going back on what you were saying about first experiences, the first time I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show was at the live show with the movie in the background, and that's the only way I could ever see that movie. Like it's the essential needed film experience. I took for Halloween like Surge and
not tell me a thing about it.
What happened?
Did not tell me.
No, I didn't say one word. I wanted them to have the experience without.
That was fantastic.
It was fun, right?
I was actually in a play of the Rocky Horror Picture Show in elementary school. I was back up. I was a dancer in Time Warp.
That's awesome.
Another quick search fun fact: his girlfriend actually won Best Orgasm Noise.
Yes, she did.
That, so
she was
good on you, bro.
I know how to pick them.
And Jen loves the Rocky Horror Picture Show as well.
Our high school wouldn't let us do Rocky Horror.
Good for your high school.
Like that was like. No, it was
I don't think Lewis will ever show up and do that again.
Oh no, I'm definitely doing it again. I gotta take somebody like you took me.
Okay, I've gone to that thing twice where you do it live or whatever, and the first time I went, I had fun, but it was very overwhelming. Like I did not. I mean, I kind of had an idea of what to expect, and then I realized I really did not know what to expect at all.
We see it often, like every couple of months, and one of the times we went, we took a friend of the show, Kevin, to the.
Oh, that was funny.
So
you want to talk about awkward?
So pretty much you've seen AG, so you know how it is. If they see that you look uncomfortable, they're going to pick on you. That's just the way it is. So Kevin is an interesting person. So he was like, I told him don't sit at the end, because if you sit at the end, they're gonna get on you.
Did he listen?
He didn't want to give up the end, so he's like, I'm comfortable.
That's his Kevin voice, by the way.
And I'm like, okay. So me and Jen are sitting to our right. I'm sitting to his left. And then the show starts. When Frank comes out, first person he sees is Kevin, sits right on his lap.
Bam.
And I took a video and picture of it. His face is priceless. After that, he was like, "I should have listened to you."
Dude, it's a lot, man. I mean, like if you're not expecting, it's a lot.
It's fun,
like
though, right?
now the best thing. It was fun. So the best thing about going the second time is that I've already experienced it, and then we went with people who had never gone. So I'm just waiting for them, like waiting for their reactions, and like they got, of course, the two people who are worried the most get messed with the most, and it's just so fun to watch. It's like I was like, thank God, I'm not in this position anymore. So it was fun to watch. Them get all like kind of squeamish and uncomfortable and just awkward. There's like I don't know what to do, but it's fun. Like it's a really you really get caught up in it because it's like the whole experience is pretty fun.
No, it's a very fun experience. The one thing is, if you watch that movie without like the show, it's not that great.
No, it's not. I've tried, and I was like, this is...
After Frank comes...
I guess
I think after Frank comes out, it becomes really boring, and I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, oh, this is not good.
So when we went, was that your first time too?
No.
Well, seeing it in the crowd.
Seeing it, and also seeing it like on the screen.
Yeah,
and
with
the actors right in front of me, yes.
Okay, cool.
It was the first time.
I definitely recommend anyone that's looking for a fun experience and a new experience, check it out. It's the longest running movie in the history of cinema.
And if you're an introvert and like Wallflower, probably I wouldn't go. Because
if you know an introvert or Wallflower, take them without telling them.
Yeah, that would be more fun. All right, so moving on to number 8. My number 8 is E.T.
Coyote Ugly.
Wah, wah. I've already expressed my opinions.
Man.
I can't believe Lewis doesn't like E.T.
I do not like E.T. Yes, you don't know.
How do you not like E.T.? How do you watch that and feel nothing?
I'm cold. I'm cold.
That movie gives me all the feels. It's bad. I have to watch it alone.
Yeah, I don't cry as hard as I do than when I watch E.T.
Like I've said, I'm gonna rewatch it with my daughter. She's probably gonna enjoy it way more than me, but I'm gonna watch it for her. And
now that you have kids,
I have one kid.
You have a child. I bet you have a stronger feeling towards it now.
We'll see,
dude. It's
like
like
punch in the last 10 minutes alone. The last 10 minutes just
As soon as like to me, like I think we've said this before when we've spoken about E.T. It's not when he's dying because I knew there was still time left. He wasn't gonna die. It's when they get on those bikes and they start flying and they get there and he's saying his goodbyes to everybody and no one that you think people that didn't give a shit about him, even his mom, shout out to Dee Wallace, did not like, she didn't even know who E.T. was and she was just like in tears when he was gonna leave. And then that moment where John Williams' score is playing and you have Elliot and him and E.T.'s like, I'll be right here with his finger and I'm, no man, how do you not know the feels? I could tear up talking about it.
First of all, that was a very David-like statement that you made. That you knew he wasn't gonna die because there was time left in the movie. That's
man.
He's checking his watch. No, we're good, guys.
Well, yeah, the first time I saw it obviously was on VHS. That was one of the first tapes that actually was a different color. It was actually a green VHS. So when I saw it, I saw the time stamp on the thing, and I was like, "Oh, there's still time left." So I knew he wasn't gonna die. Cheat codes. But yeah, I mean, I'm with G on this. I mean, that movie drops so many feels. But yeah, that's my number 8. It was a powerhouse in June 1982. I think it's one of those movies that it was nominated for all these Academy Awards, and I think it's one of those that was too cool for the time for it to win. And this is my favorite Spielberg movie.
It has our favorite unfavorite actress in that movie.
Fuck her, man.
Exactly.
Why do we gotta ruin this moment? Why do you gotta? It's her best.
What, 6?
Her best performance at the age of 6. Congratulations.
I don't know if you noticed, Judge, but we hate Drew Barrymore. At least half of the squad here hates Drew Barrymore.
Why?
She's not a good actress.
She is a good actress.
She's
proven
terrible.
it time and time again.
She's terrible. Go watch Home Fries.
She has a Golden Globe.
Go watch Home Fries.
Shout out to Home Fries.
She has man. She's been. Yeah, I love naming all her movies with bad titles, like Riding in Cars with Boys. Home Fries.
First of all, that sounds like a porno.
That's so funny.
But whatever. We're just gonna have one long episode about her, and I'm just gonna try to convince everyone that she's amazing. I won't say amazing. She's a solid 7.
Yeah, Jesus.
She's good as Mad Max.
Drew, you're a solid 7.
Solid 7. How do you watch the opening scene in Scream? You don't think she was good in that?
Whatever.
I don't think it was good because of her. She was
I mean, the movie wasn't good because of her, but she was like, she's good in the scene.
No, but I'm saying that scene could have been copy paste with any actress.
No, you can't just throw stank face over there. It has to be Drew Barrymore.
She's not giving me the stank face. I thought she was.
Lou, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Guardians of the Galaxy. What is with the face? You give me a face for everyone I've done.
It's too new.
It's not too new.
It's too new.
It's too new.
That movie was fantastic.
I know it was. I just think
all right then. So don't tell me it's too new.
I just think
it happened, right?
I think
it happened.
What do you mean?
The movie happened, right?
Of course. I just still think it's too new. So I think there's so many better movies that drove the way to summer blockbusters more than Guardians of the Galaxy. You have a universe.
No, you know why Guardians is important though? It's because no one expected that to make as much money as it did. But I kind of like it's gonna flop because I had never heard of it.
But you already have. Here's my thing: you have already. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't get me wrong, but you already have a universe that's established. That movie was going to make money because everyone was going to Marvel movies.
It wasn't guaranteed to make money.
I don't think it was guaranteed to make money.
Thor made money. Thor made money.
But people knew who Thor was.
No, I wasn't reading Thor.
You knew of Thor. Did you know of?
I had never, ever heard of the Guardians of the Galaxy before that movie came out. Not even like a blurb. I didn't even know it was like there were characters in comic books.
I didn't know of it, but the only reason I actually went to see it is because it was part of the MCU, and to get from point A to point B to point C, you needed to see it anyway. Yeah, it was great, and people were like, oh, I love Gru and I love all these people, but people went to see it because it was part of the MCU. If that shit was a Fox movie or a Sony or whatever the fuck, it wouldn't have made $1 billion or whatever money it made. It's a great movie.
So then explain Ant-Man, because Ant-Man, it was also a part of the MCU, and it wasn't as successful. Right?
It made money though.
Yeah,
it made money, but like it didn't make like
But it also wasn't critically acclaimed as well as Guardians of the Galaxy. Right. So, I guess to me it was more on the like if I think summer blockbuster, I think of like the impact it made in certain aspects of it. But no, I mean Guardians is great. I still think
that has an impact though. I get what you're saying that people probably felt they had to see it, but like if the casual moviegoer has no idea who these people are, like. I mean, to me, it making as much money as it did is.
Look at Doctor Strange. A lot of people, like I have a couple of friends that listen to the show that don't like Doctor Strange, but saw it because it was part of the MCU.
I'm included in that list. I saw Doctor Strange, and honestly, I don't think it was that great.
And it's one of the highest rated. And it's funny, you didn't think it's that great. Mm-hmm. A lot of friends didn't think it's that great, but they saw it because. Part of the MCU. Right. You need to see what's next.
I still haven't seen it, and I don't care if it's part of the MCU. Just the trailer. I'm gonna see it eventually, but the trailer didn't do anything for me.
It's a good movie. I liked it.
I don't just base it off of the universes on.
I mean, there's little things in every movie that connects to the overall story. So,
but I do think it's cool how in Guardians, like it took a bunch of characters who nobody knows and nobody actually kind of cares about, and at the end of the movie, it makes you care about these characters. I mean, who knew about Groot? Who knew about or Rocket, right? And then we see the movie, and now everybody is like, they all think, oh, he's awesome, or this character is awesome. It made you care about the characters in a span of just a couple of hours.
It did, and that's why I think it's a great movie.
So, like,
as well.
I don't think that so much about Ant-Man, right? Like, I saw Ant-Man.
Actually,
at the end of Ant-Man, I don't really care so much about him.
I mean, I liked Ant-Man a lot. I thought. The similarity.
That's all because of Paul Rudd. Paul
Rudd is good. No, Michael Pena was great in it too.
Yeah, he was. Oh yeah.
I think the thing with
was good.
Yeah, he was. I think the thing with Ant-Man, the similarities that I have with Ant-Man and Guardians is that they're both two characters you didn't even know about, and you still went to see it or whatever. But I think the performances from those main characters are that pushed it to you giving a shit about them. Mm-hmm. I mean. We were talking about Doctor Strange before. I saw it. I liked it. I didn't think it was great, but I liked it. But I still don't care about Doctor Strange. That's the thing.
I mean, the acting was good.
Yeah.
And I like that it, instead of like having the powers, it was that he was a magician and he's using his magic. Like it was different, but just, it didn't stick with me. I wasn't as interested in this film as the other ones in the MCU.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I put Guardians at number 8. Just not. I know it wasn't as hyped up as like Batman '89, but once it came out, I feel like it took over the summer once people started realizing how good it was.
It really did, and it kind of took over like the back end of the summer. Like it was, I know throughout August, it was like I think it was number one for like a few weeks.
All people talked about, we listened to the soundtrack, everything.
Now I'll be honest with you, when I first saw the trailer, I thought it looked absolutely absurd because I had never heard of them before, and I was confused. I was just like, why is there a talking like raccoon? Like I don't understand what's going on.
I love the first trailer.
I just didn't get it. I was like, I don't know if I want to see this because I just don't get it. But I'm glad I did. Because it ended up being a really good movie.
What's your number 8?
Was it me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I went with Back to the Future.
Whoa, that's so low.
Yeah.
Why? I mean,
we all agree on that one?
No, because you know how I feel about
Oh, yeah, you don't like Back to the Future.
So it didn't make my list also.
You don't like Back to the Future either?
We've been through this.
No E.T., no Back to the Future.
No E.T. or Back to the Future on my list.
Lou officially hates good movies.
I know. Who hates
Shout out
You know what, though? My buddy I work with hates Back to the Future, too, and like as well. And we get into like mini arguments about it. I was like, oh, you just didn't have a childhood or something weird.
Wait, I have to ask. I know we probably... what don't you like about Back to the Future?
I thought it was just too cheesy. I mean, we had this discussion already. I thought it was too cheesy for me. I don't know. It just didn't do anything.
I mean, it's a bit of the appeal of these movies, right? That it's supposed to be cheesy. It's kind of like over the top and weird on purpose.
Yeah, but
on top of it all, it's very much an 80s movie, too, like on top of everything.
And the music is great in it. Christopher Lloyd, Michael J. Fox, everything. Everyone in that movie is great.
Huey Lewis in the new.
Like for movies of that time, I'd rather watch like Ferris Bueller over Back to the Future.
I mean, it's a completely different movie.
Ferris Bueller's good.
I'm talking about like movies of that era. Like it just was too cheesy for me.
I mean, they even have a shout out to Chuck Berry's cousin, Marvin Berry. So I mean, it's so much in that movie. It's just so good.
Perfectly cast. Like Michael J. Fox is like the perfect like lead in that movie.
That's the best role he's ever had, right?
Other than Family Time, or I mean, other than his TV work, I guess you would say that.
I think Gaius like Life with Mike or Life of Mikey or whatever.
Which one? Wait, what was the plot of that? I'm kind of vaguely.
Is that?
I'm seeing.
Let me make sure I get the right title. It's the one where he's an ad salesman with a little girl.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
He was a child star, then he became an ad salesman, and a child agent. That's what he is. With Nathan Lane.
For those who can't listen, Ben is loudly whispering to David
the synopsis of this movie. But yeah, I have Back to the Future is a little higher on my list, so I'll wait a little bit to talk about that. But I'm with you on how great.
Well, at least you actually like it.
I love it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. My number 7 is Jurassic Park.
Oh, I can piggyback.
It's your number 7?
I thought it was going to be top 5.
No, is it? I guess your top 5?
It is in my top 5. I thought it was going to be in yours, though.
Nah, there's a couple of things that are better.
You love Jurassic Park.
I do love Jurassic Park.
Well, I mean, we love all these. There's 10 movies that we love in the summer. Like,
yeah.
Let's not forget that fact.
So Jurassic Park is, I mean, I'll hold off till we get to your number, but it's probably the best use of animatronics in film of all time. Yeah. We agree there?
Yeah, it's a close second is Jaws, but
I mean, Jaws is Jaws, but even the shark looked fake in the movie.
Sometimes.
So the T-Rex was not
looking
fake or anything.
No, the T-Rex looked fantastic.
Nothing in that film, all the animatronics and there's something in Jurassic Park that's actually a little scary. I don't know if you guys ever realized this when you watched it. I mean,
the Velociraptors?
Not even the Raptors. Gee, piggyback off me if anything. When he's going in the car with that fat guy, I forgot his name. Newman. When he goes in the car and he has the DNA of the dinosaurs, and that dinosaur is in the car with him, the one that flaps his things open, and he just spews that black shit at him, and he just attacks him on there. That's like straight out of a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but outside of that, everything in that movie was fun.
My friend hates the kids.
No, that's where I was going next. I actually don't like the little boy. That little boy is irritating as shit.
Nah, the girl is just as bad.
No way, really?
She's annoying as fuck, and it always bugged me that she doesn't like. She does have the light. He has to tell her to turn the light off when they're in the car, and it's just like, ugh, she's just dumb.
I think I don't know, man. I think that little boy was just like in need of like someone to like say, hey, we can hang out. And he just
I always laugh when he gets zapped on the electric fence when they're climbing.
That's wrong.
Down.
That's wrong.
I know I laugh like it's like the funniest thing. It's hilarious. Well, what compare them to the kids in Jurassic World? Like, no. I wasn't annoyed by. I know people that were annoyed by those kids.
I wasn't that. I wasn't really that annoyed with them.
And I wasn't. I know some people were very annoyed by the little brother. but I thought they were both fine.
A much superior film than Jurassic World.
It's good. It's not like Jurassic. It's not Jurassic Park good.
That's what I'm saying. Jurassic Park is a much superior film.
I'm just, but yeah, I mean, I was fine with those kids. I always have an issue with the kids, and I don't hate them like my friend does, but I always thought the girl was more annoying than the little kid, the little boy.
Here's a nerd update for you guys. A lot of the dinosaurs in these films are not from in the Jurassic era. They're also from the Triassic and the Cretaceous era of, so I think that the name of Jurassic, it's wrong, and they should.
Shout out to that knowledge. I had no idea.
Yo, that was the geekiest thing we were having.
Yeah, I think they had like 3 eras of dinosaurs. Right now. I think they had like 3 eras of dinosaurs. I think it was Triassic, and Jurassic, and then I want to say Cretaceous or
I guess if we would contact the studio, they'll probably say, "Well, at least we had Jurassic in it."
I mean, they had a couple dinosaurs who were in the Jurassic era.
I would say Jurassic Park probably sounded the coolest out of the theme park names.
Oh, it definitely did. Yeah.
So,
just that,
I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, sorry for all.
No, not at all. All right, G.
No, it's important. That's important. Now we need to talk to Spielberg. Like,
yes. G, you're closer to the man. Get that shit done for us.
I have a friend named Serge. He says you're wrong.
He says that you have been misleading us for years.
There's been 4 movies, sir.
Oral research, sir. And I want my money back from your Blockbuster.
All right, G. Since Jurassic Park was Lewis's and I 7th, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is... No, you're going to get mad. It's Jaws. It didn't make my top 5, but it's...
Jen is going to be so mad at you.
Why?
Because Jen, I originally, it was going back and forth on my list all week, and I ended up at another number. It was a lot higher than it is, but I couldn't put Jaws at number 7. It's too low. It's too impactful almost.
Jen's anger is seething that we're gonna need a bigger studio. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm sorry.
Jen is like we are no longer watching Clueless together when I go down to LA.
That's the punishment.
She's like, no more of that.
I mean, we can't like everything. I mean, I support her love for Never Been Kissed. I mean, come on.
Never Been Kissed is so bad. Anyways,
it's not bad. It's good. Did that come out during the summer?
Never Been Kissed? I don't know if it came out in the
summer.
Number
1.
Let me just cross off what I have here.
But Jaws, yeah. I mean. I guess me and Lou will talk about that a little bit later, but yeah. So that's your number 7.
That is my number 7.
My number 6 is gonna be a little low. You probably will think it's a little low on my list. Batman 89 is my number 6.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be so much higher.
No, man.
Oh wow.
So, have I said this plenty of times? I've said this in my review of Batman 89. Batman 89 is the most important comic book film of all time. Without Batman 89, we wouldn't be here today. Why? Because Batman 89 was the first comic book film to actually market the film. You saw billboards in New York at a time where now you go to New York and you go to Times Square and you see all those billboards of all these superhero movies and it's common. Right, but before then, you didn't see any of that shit. In 1989, in May, June of 89, you saw that giant bat logo in the middle of Times Square and you're like, oh, Batman, cool. And on top of that,
I was saying Google Gaga that was 1.
It was the highest grossing film ever at the time. It was the highest opening weekend ever at the time.
Was it like $40 million?
Yeah, 50, like, it's so weird. I think it was like 56 or 50, something like that. It really wasn't a lot of money as opposed to today.
It's so crazy. Like when you have like opening weekends that hit like $200 million now.
And the movie is not great. There is plenty of issues with Batman 89.
Good.
It's as a film, it's fine.
It's above good, not good.
No, it's not very good. Batman 89 is not very good. Batman 89 I love to death, but I can tell you so many things there is wrong with Batman 89.
Vicky Vale coming to the Batcave.
Vicky Vale going to the Batcave. Alfred is the worst wingman ever. 3 is Michael Keaton when they're in the apartment. and the Joker shoots him and he's wearing the thing. How the hell does he escape? All of a sudden, Joker leaves. Vicky Vale turns around, and Bruce Wayne is nowhere to be found.
Well, he is Batman. I mean, you do it.
Bruce Wayne, Batman's like when he's in the Batwing, which is the best Batwing out of any Batman film because, like I've said before, the one in The Dark Knight Rises looks like a lobster. He has the worst aim ever. He's like a stormtrooper.
Yeah, how does he not shoot?
Because he does not shoot the Joker at all when he's flying down, and then the Joker with that giant ass gun in his pants just shoots him with one shot, and the fucking thing explodes. It's a little bit over the top. It's but it has so much heart thanks to Nicholson and Keaton, and they're just perfect in those roles. I think it's to me as a 3-year-old at the time. I saw it when I was 5 for the first time, and I was just like done. Like my love for film started with Batman '89, and I think because movies make so much money nowadays, you really don't have the appreciation for it as you would have if they weren't.
I think it's kind of interesting that they don't even try. They don't even try to make it an origin story either. You just are just thrown into it, like he's already.
It's funny because I remember watching that movie and I was like, oh. When you see that first movie, you see that kid with the 2 parents, and I'm like, oh, so they're gonna tell his origin story here, but they don't. And you're just like, no, we're going straight to year 1. This guy is Batman already. We don't need to tell anything. And what I love about that movie too is it's 1989, but it's timeless deco. If this movie was in '89 and people were dressing like they did in the '80s, it would not hold up as well.
No.
But the fact that it's timeless deco and Danny Elfman's score, it's one of the best scores ever made. I mean, I can ramble on like I ramble on about movies I love so much. But yeah, Batman '89 is my number 6.
Well, it's funny how like no one at the time, because we always talk about how great Michael Keaton is. At the time when he got cast, like people were just like, like
he got the Heath Ledger treatment. Like they were like, Mr. Mom's gonna be Batman.
Yeah, like what the hell?
And then he turned out to be the best Batman of all time. So yep, number 6.
Even better than Christian Bale.
Yeah, I think. All right, Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne.
Debatable. So we got Affleck going on now.
I don't think Affleck is the best Bruce Wayne. Christopher Nolan had 3. I mean, Christian Bale had 3 movies to develop his character. I mean, Bruce Wayne just in Dark.
I said debatable. I didn't say it was.
No, I'm just saying Bruce Wayne in Batman v Superman is always angry. He's like very angry.
Where is she? Right, Joe.
Now we talk about Batman. He is just. I mean, yeah, his suit is on point. And he like actually fights Bruce Wayne. Like the action sequences in the early Batmans are so hokey and funny. Like we could probably direct them if we wanted to. But yeah.
Will Clooney be last on all aspects?
Yeah.
If Clooney had a better movie, I think he'd be up there.
Clooney had the potential to be a good Bruce because he has that natural he has that natural air about him where he could play like the kind of like billionaire, playboy type, and I really think if he was in a better movie, he probably could have been a decent.
Yeah, a better movie, and him if they ever always mention The Dark Knight Returns if they ever make it in the movie. If Keaton doesn't do it, I'll bring Clooney back. All right, so Batman '89 is my number 6. Lou, what's up for you?
My number 6 is Terminator 2: Judgment Day. One of your honorable mentions there, buddy.
Yeah. It didn't deserve to be in the top 10.
Nah, this is one of the best action movies ever made. Man.
I love getting the what's from G.
The what's are epic. That's when you know you're doing something right when you get a what.
Didn't deserve to be in the top 2. Okay.
It's a solid 7.
Yeah, I mean we've talked about it endlessly. Do you have anything to chime in? Since we've talked about it on the last 4 episodes.
Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Yeah, Terminator 2 gets brought up a lot.
I mean, of all the films in the series, I think it's the best one.
Yeah, easily.
Part 2, yeah.
Actually, no.
Well,
I keep saying
Terminator's
easily.
solid,
Terminator's really good.
It is, but
I would say Terminator's darker than Terminator 2.
Oh, it's almost like a horror movie the way it's kind of structured.
Because he's just blowing people up like the entire movie.
I mean, at the end of the day, we gotta remember.
Just looking up Sarah Connors in the phone book, just killing them all.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying, we gotta remember that 1 is 1.
But 2 is
2 is 2.
Best review ever.
By Jen.
That doesn't really tell me what the film's about.
You don't need to know that. You just need to know 1 is 1 and 2 is 2.
You know, it's 1
and it's by Jen!
That same review can go for like Aliens and Aliens.
I think, like I said last week, I think Aliens is the greatest title for a sequel.
I was saying 1 is 1.
And 2 is 2.
Okay, in your opinion, is
Aliens
better than Alien?
They're both fantastic. I prefer Aliens.
Because I feel like they are two different movies.
Yeah, one's a horror, one's an action.
Right. I prefer the original Alien over Aliens. Yeah,
I
think Aliens is fantastic. It's amazing, even. But I felt like I like the horror aspect of the original one even better. They tried to do that in the latest Alien film, Alien Covenant.
So bad.
And it felt a little flat. It wasn't as great.
The more I think about Covenant, the more I think I would give it a lower score.
The more I think about it, the more it makes my top 10 worst of the year, actually.
They try to do half Prometheus and then half Alien, and it wasn't really... It didn't gel very well.
Oh, yeah, he tried to make everyone happy that was like upset with Prometheus. He was like, all right.
He tried to make everyone happy, but in return, he made everyone angry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Terminator 2 is great. I mean, the trailer for they're releasing it in 3D in August in theaters, so I can't wait to see that.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see.
I've never seen it in the theater, so this will be great to catch it in the theater for the first time. And we've talked about it before. I mean, everything about it with the
T2000.
Yeah. The T1000.
T1000. Those numbers, man.
But yeah, that's your number 6.
Yep.
G, you're up.
All right, so my number 6.
I'm still waiting for this teen movie, by the way.
Harry Potter. What?
I'm still waiting for this teen movie that seems to not have made the list yet.
Oh, well, I had to. So remember, I'll tell you. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. So yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban.
There was some stuff that I realized a certain movie was released during the summer. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
The best Harry Potter movie that I forgot to put on this list.
That is the best Harry Potter movie in my personal opinion.
I still think.
Only because I was about to tap out because I didn't like the first two, at all. I thought they were kiddie and overlong and I didn't enjoy them. And my friend was like, dude, who I read the books, I was like, this is when things it's a little darker, so I think you'll like it. And I was like, all right. So Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is actually the first midnight showing I've ever been to for a movie.
Nice.
And yeah, I went and there were a ton of people there and everyone was dressed up except for our group. We weren't that nerdy at the time. And I just from the opening of it, I just knew I was going to be getting a totally different movie from.
Yeah, just because with the opening Warner Brothers logo, it was already cloudy, right? That was the first one to actually be cloudy. And then Harry Potter basically killed that lady in the beginning.
Yeah. So as my friends like to say, this is the Harry Potter movie where shit gets real, and that's how I felt watching it. I was like, I got immediately invested in all the characters, and it was so weird too, to not really care for the first two movies that much, and then kind of instantly be all in with everyone that was involved. I was like, all right, I can get into this. And they were, I won't say that they were just all gradually just they were just good after that. I mean, I know Deathly Hallows Part 2, a lot of people like that more than Azkaban.
I think
it's just a personal
favorite.
Yeah, I think it's the overall feeling I got when I first saw Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, I
mean, I wish that director did more of them. They tried to. I know they maintained some of his style. The one director that did the next one after that was Goblet of Fire. The next one after that.
Yeah.
And then the guy who took over the franchise
was Yates
up until the end. Yeah, Yates. Yeah,
he's still directing. He's still directing them too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So they incorporated some of it Alfonso's style, but I really wish that he had another crack at another Harry Potter movie because he clearly kind of set the tone for what the darker versions of those movies are going to be.
Yeah, he pretty much brought in more adults, more teenagers in instead of the kids that started off reading the book. The people that were just into the movies, they saw that it was darker and they're like, okay, let's give this a shot. So I'm with you on how important that was. All right, getting into our top 5. My number 5 is Ghostbusters. No love for Ghostbusters except me, I guess.
Oh, you know what? I didn't put it on my list. I like Ghostbusters. I don't have the same hardcore love of it that I know a lot of people have. I know people that live and die by Ghostbusters. They love it, and I do like it. I just don't have it. I grew up with it too. I don't know why I don't like it as much as everyone else does. I enjoy it and I can watch it and have a good time with it. It just doesn't stick with me as much as other movies from that time period.
Yeah, I mean, I won't get too much into it because I've talked about it before, but I agree with you on like the people that are hardcore fans. I have a friend of mine that he is a big time collector. He collects all memorabilia from Ghostbusters, and he refused to watch the all female driven one. And we've talked about it on the podcast before, and it's just there's levels of like fanhood for that movie that they don't want anyone to touch what was done. I mean, what I've said before, I mean, I think it's such a great film. Bill Murray, everyone's cast so perfectly. It's all natural. It wasn't forced. No forced comedy in there. You have soundtrack is really good on it as well. I mean, to me, it's one of the best comedies of all time, and it made a lot of money, like lots of money. What's crazy is that this I never mentioned before. They went into that movie without any toy ideas, any toy rights, or anything like that. So they didn't make any figures for that movie till like 3 or 4 years later when the sequel came out. Wow. So like they lost a lot of money that they could have had with like merchandising.
Yeah, a lot left on the table there.
Is the sequel as good as the first one?
It's not.
You don't think so?
No.
I think it's kind of almost on par.
No, I think it's pretty bad.
Really?
I actually like the all female one over the sequel.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
Yeah, the sequel's a little rough.
The thing is though, like the sequel is like I enjoy it the same way I enjoy the first one. So I don't like. I really. They feel the same to me sometimes. I mean, I don't know. Man, I could just because.
Well, yeah,
I don't have,
you watch it as. I guess you watch it as like one whole giant picture if you really look at it. Yeah. I mean, I think my biggest issues with 2 is I really don't like that the damn painting was a fucking villain, and the villain is a painting in slime. You know, I mean, and people can say, yeah, the villain in the first one is a building, but not really. You still had like you still had Ghoul, and you had everything that was Zool. You have everything that's going on with that, and you had Slimer. There's nothing like really that stands out from part 2 except the Statue of Liberty walking. So yeah, which makes no sense at all.
Well, apparently people felt the same way because it didn't make nearly as much money as.
I would have loved to see them make a third one. A real third one, not what we got. I mean, I'm fine. I think the other one's fine, but I think they should have made a third one with them coming back and training.
I heard from you that in the video game, it's basically
the third movie. 3. Yeah, that's basically the third movie, which is video game's really good. So I mean, that's as far as we got with that. But yeah, Ghostbusters is my number 5. Lou, what's your 5?
All right, well, on to the top 5. My number 5 is the Avengers. And I got another face.
I like the Avengers. It's an honorable mention.
Yeah, it's a combination of all the Marvel films we got that were fantastic, and it's just a movie that people waited for.
I'll chime in on this. I think it's unique because it's I mean, I don't know if there has been other films that had combined other films. You know, because it had Iron Man.
They're the first one to create the universe and make it work.
So it basically consolidated all those heroes into like a single kind of film, and I don't know if that's been done in the past. Has it?
No, I
don't think so.
They may have tried, but nothing like to the level.
Yeah,
of
not
this.
Not in the way where you actually we're making all these individual movies to introduce everyone, and then putting them into one big super movie.
The MCU absolutely changed movies because of what they did.
And they had brought them together, and it wasn't a hot mess, unlike Age of Ultron. That was a hot mess.
It's not really a hot mess.
Yeah, I'm not mad at Age of Ultron, but the hype behind the first Avengers was so high, and it felt like it didn't let anybody down. I thought it was very good. So it met the hype, which was good, and yeah, it kind of just set the tone for the whole universe of what we were gonna get. And
they took their time with it. They actually took their time and introduced all these people in their own movies.
No character felt left out. Like even Hawkeye had screen time. It was like.
See, my problem with the Avengers, the only problem I have is because I like Hawkeye. I actually think Jeremy Renner I like Jeremy Renner a lot, and he's so. They go bad early on, then he's gone for a good chunk of the movie. And then he's there for the climax, but that's why I like Age of Ultron because they use it more as well.
Yeah.
I felt like he got a little shafted out of all of them in the first movie.
And I think Loki, what works for that is Loki's probably one of the best villains in the MCU.
Yeah.
They actually developed him, unlike anyone else. And
like,
Bucky. I have always liked the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier's fantastic. But yeah, G, what's your number 5?
But yeah, number 5 is Spider-Man 2. Told you again.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about this in a chat earlier. There's a on the Real Talk Facebook that someone, one of our followers, doesn't like Spider-Man 2, and I was like, me and G were like, what? Like, how do you like? I feel like Spider-Man 2 is looking back at it, might be the first one to really dig into the duality of the character. Like, you have to deal with, like, I'm sure G will comment more, like with Peter struggles with him being Peter Parker and Spider-Man. But I'll let you take over. I don't want to take anything you.
No, yeah, it pretty much that pretty much is it. Like, this is a movie about basically growing up and trying to like finding your way in like young adulthood. Like, and just that, the added stuff of it being like an action movie and a comic movie, that's almost like secondary to like the kind of real life struggles that are going on in it. So like, we mentioned earlier that like Kristen Dunst isn't really she's not really good as Mary Jane, but like her character and like her relationship with him is essential in that movie though, because he's dealing with his duties as a hero, then also trying to just balance a normal life, and then she's also trying to balance that life with him as well. And it's just like, you can take that kind of plot and like put it into any like it doesn't even have to be in a comic movie. That could just be in like just a regular film about the struggles of just growing up and trying to make it and trying to figure out like what your purpose is.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with you on that. I mean,
that kind of
sold
really well in that movie.
And I think that goes with what I wanted to touch on. I'm like, it's just crazy like how people look at it now and they're like, oh, these movies suck, and I'm like, but why? Because it's not your precious MCU. It's not your precious DCU. True. I'm like, no, these movies, just because they're not in a universe doesn't mean that they aren't good. Like, look at Deadpool. Look at Logan. They're not in a universe, and they're some of the best comic book movies made in years. So I think people are so struck on universes, going back to the Avengers, that you're like, they don't want to focus anything outside. And if it's not part of a universe, they don't feel like it's creative or trying to establish anything. And in reality, some movies are best when it's just they're the singular entity, and you're worried about anything else.
So I'm worried about the Batman movie because I don't think Batman should be part of a universe.
I'm with you, but Matt Reeves behind it, and he's gonna make it a noir. People are gonna be so mad, so mad.
I'm down with that idea. I'm just worried. I just don't like them adding other characters to a Batman movie. Like, if I'm gonna watch a Batman movie, I just want to watch a Batman.
I think Batman's gonna be a singular. It's gonna be like Wonder Woman.
But I'm saying, like, I'm hoping to go that direction. But you
never
know.
I think this movie's gonna be hated by so many fanboys because I was on a page, a DC page, and the article said Matt Reeves wants to make the Batman a detective noir. Someone commented, "What's a noir?" And I looked at it and I'm like, that little question right there, and I'm like, they're gonna destroy this movie. But fans, I'm not critics, but fans.
See, here's the thing. At that point, I think it loses its appeal to the masses, and it becomes kind of like it becomes it becomes a film only only the hardcore like enthusiasts are gonna enjoy that film. I feel like, because its approach is so different.
Well, I'll counter with he directs Planet of the Apes.
Right. Well, okay.
And look how great Planet of the Apes is, and they're not action. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I mean, we both saw Rise together. He didn't. Was he directed Rise or did he direct Dawn? Gee, you're not sure. But yeah, like both of them, they're not like this action. They're fantastic, but they're fantastic. I mean, Batman is a detective, and when have we ever seen him in all these movies do detective work?
I mean, that's why they call it DC. Detective Comics.
Yeah, so it's like one of those like, all right, you've never seen him do detective work.
I think
he's a good director, a great director. Why not just do a noir, making him? I mean, fanboys are gonna hate it because it's not gonna be full of action. I know that.
I hope it's successful, but I don't know if the masses will understand.
I'm with you. They're not gonna. And I think
it's a really tricky thing too, because I think that happens. I think that kind of happened with like just an example off the top of my head, like with Watchmen. Like, I know people who love the source material and like they liked the movie, they were fine with it. But I've some people, like just casual people, that they were like, yeah, when they were expecting something else and didn't really enjoy it. So like, it was clearly made for fans, and it didn't really reach, I think, like a lot of other people who just wanted to, go see a really cool movie. I think it's very easy to kind of, you have to be careful when you're making a movie that you want to please the fans, but you also have to know that there's like someone, like people out there who are going to see it, but like not be so like familiar with the source.
I think the one franchise you can do that with DC is Batman. I think Batman will always be number one for DC, and all the money that Wonder Woman makes is great, but I think once Batman comes out, it's that movie, regardless, it's gonna make a lot of money.
The franchise is popular enough that if they do take a risk, it could pay off.
Did Batman? I'm gonna look this up real quick because I know all the Batman movies have been successful financially. I wonder. I'm looking to look this up. I think even Batman and Robin made $100 million.
It made 107, I think.
So even the worst
after a 40-something million opening weekend. So that's how hard it fell after opening weekend.
So even then, it made $238 million worldwide. So even a movie that's that atrocious makes that much money. Batman is gonna make crazy money.
How about the one of the Lego Batman movie? How did
but tons of money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I think it's like almost to $1 billion. I think it's one of the highest grossing of the year. Wow. So it made money.
Yeah, it didn't do as well here as like the Lego movie did, but it still made money.
Yeah,
which I'm kind of surprised it didn't like match the Lego movie here, because I know everyone liked it. Like everyone seemed to enjoy it.
I like the Lego Batman more than the Lego movie, but that's just me because I'm just a Batman mark. So,
am I the only one who wants to see a Batman but not be kind of dark and serious? I want it to be like as goofy as the original series.
Not me.
I want to see. No,
you guys already.
No,
I want to see like a corny Batman, like a corny on purpose Batman.
I would hate that so
much.
That's what Batman and Robin was.
Yeah, we got that with Batman and Robin. And
but you know what? I felt like it kind of half-assed it in being I feel like it didn't go all the way in being a corny film on purpose.
No, it definitely was trying to be serious. Yeah,
it took itself like a little bit, all too seriously. But I feel like if they make a movie that's over the top corny on purpose,
I don't think,
and it knows it's corny, I think it can do pretty well if they do it right.
Standalone, maybe, but I don't. It'll make money for sure. Fans of Batman 66.
I kind of see that as Lego Batman. Wouldn't that kind of?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
because that's like way over the top, and definitely not taking itself seriously.
Like not real.
Yeah, that too. There's that aspect.
So moving on to number 4, I'm actually gonna do 4 and 3 back to back. One, because we've talked about them plenty of times, and there's not much to add. But my number 4 is Back to the Future, and my number 3 is The Dark Knight. My number 4 is Back to the Future. I think it's the best time travel movie of all time. It's just fun to watch. It's one of those it makes you want to watch all 3. If you watch one, you're watching all 3 back to back to back.
And I can.
I know you hate 3. You hate 3. 3 is not hot garbage. 3 is not hot garbage.
I can't believe that 2 and 3 were made at the same time. I feel like I'm watching a completely different movie. Like it's so weird, how the dip in quality is. Because I love 2. I don't think 2 gets enough love.
Oh, I love 2. But Serge, I know G does. Lou hates Back to the Future. Are you a fan of the second and third, or?
No, yes, yeah, I am. They're great.
No, yeah, the first one is iconic, right. But I think everything in the second one. The only issue, I don't know if you guys agree, is maybe they shouldn't have done 2015 because they dated themselves too soon. Mm-hmm. Maybe they could have done 2115. I was actually
hoverboards yet.
Yeah, I have a fake hoverboard from Back to the Future Part 2. That's as probably closest we're gonna get. But if they would have,
we have Teslas. That's kind of like the.
No flying cars
there,
yet,
I guess.
And no one's dressing like that.
It's true.
Yeah, true.
Well, you know what? Maybe, yeah. I've seen some funky shit at like during Fashion Week. I question like how people make money on some of these outfits that they make. But yeah, no, Back to the Future 1 and 2 I personally love. 3, yeah, it's the worst out of the 3, but I love it. And number 1 is just so much fun. I mean, it's really a story about incest, but it works.
But they make it funny.
They make it funny. They're like, yeah, of course she wants to like hook up with her son. Why wouldn't she? And they make it work, and it's just like so funny. And Lou's looking at me like it's incest.
He's like, what?
Literally just said with a straight face. Of course she would hook up with her son. Why wouldn't she?
Yeah, they made it work.
That is a crazy statement.
I mean, liking all 3 Fridays is a crazy statement, but you made it so.
He likes the Friday universe.
The Friday universe is crazy too.
So I mean, like, and everyone's great. Like we said before, Michael J. Fox is great, and everyone. But anyway, my number 3 is Dark Knight. It's a Godfather comic book movies. It has my second favorite performance of all time. Has quite possibly the best supporting actor win in Oscar history with Heath Ledger. The most fun win because it's the only comic book performance to ever win an Oscar. So, Lou.
Serge, can you guess his first favorite performance?
I don't think you will. It's not a comic book movie. I don't think I've ever told him.
Let me try to figure this out.
G knows it. G hates this movie.
He knows it very well.
Is it The Godfather?
Yeah.
Oh, see how well do I know you, bro?
All right, he got it. All
I
right.
don't hate The Godfather.
It's that blasphemy that wasn't on your list, but fucking Scream 2 was last week. Fucking ridiculous.
No comment. That was crazy.
You guys got mad. Oh, whatever. I love Scream 2.
Blasphemy. But yeah, that's my.
No, your both of your reactions were like, "Oh, and it's so high." Ah.
It's funny that like Iron Man came out in June, and then Dark Knight came out 3 weeks later.
You know the crazy thing about
wow,
the
that's a
Dark
lot
Knight,
of money, right?
The crazy thing about the Dark Knight is I remember being in college, and I remember how me and David would go to class, and we would talk about Heath Ledger because at the time it wasn't out yet, and they just announced that Heath Ledger is going to be in this film. And our first thought was like, wait, him? Really? Heath Ledger? Right, and
10 Things I Hate About You?
Yeah, right. Or the dude in that in the him and the other dude that who fall in love in Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, that one.
Brokeback Mountain's great.
I haven't seen it.
But no, I'm with you. Like saw it. We were talking about it, and I was like, man, really?
I'm not sure if that's
you know what's funny? Hey, G, you'll probably laugh at me now for this, but in 2006 when they announced this, I was like, why not Johnny Depp?
You were a hater. I remember how
I was.
Johnny Depp.
You were a hater.
Dude, he was really hot at the time, though.
Yeah. And then we saw that trailer.
It was the trailer and that first image of Heath, and I was like,
that trailer was
let me
like,
shut the fuck up
we
now.
We can shut up now.
Seriously. And then, I mean,
I don't think you were the only ones. I think everyone was confused by the choice. Because I know everyone, a few people were like, they named off his other movies, like all confused, like the guy from A Knight's Tale.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, to this day, I mean, it's 10 years next year. So, to me, the greatest comic book movie ever made. I think it's comical. It goes back to the Spider-Man 2 argument that people love to shit on Heath Ledger now and say he's not the greatest Joker. Like, what, man? Blasphemy. Like, what? Go play in traffic. Like, what are you doing?
I saw that movie twice in one day. Like, the day it opened. That's how much I liked it.
I saw it 7 times, and you're like, what?
Saw it twice in one day. I went and in the morning, like early with friends, and then my other group of friends were seeing it at night. I was like, oh, I'm seeing this again.
Yeah, it's so good. And there's so many iconic moments in the movie, and even not just Ledger. I mean, Aaron Eckhart's great as Two-Face. And the whole
he doesn't get enough love for that.
And I think that the movie actually captures the duality of Bruce Wayne and Batman very well because he's trying to like not be Batman for Rachel, but he has no choice but to be Batman. It's good. It's so great. But yeah, that's my number 3 and 2. Lou, you want to do your 3 and 2 back to back, or is it anything that we haven't mentioned?
We haven't mentioned my.
I mean, your 4 and 3.
We haven't mentioned my 4 and 3, so.
What happened?
We haven't mentioned my 4.
All right, go for it.
Well, I mean. 4 we've mentioned, I think.
All right, what's your number 4?
Number 4 is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Of course.
I feel bad that I didn't put those on my list. I've probably because they're so good. I should have.
Yeah, Dawn of the Pentagon is fantastic.
Yes.
It outshined all the legacy of that movie in just that one film alone.
Word.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, like I said, we've covered it extensively. You gonna chime in? I know you just mentioned about how much you liked it, so.
I mean, it was great. I don't know what to add on to that, but it was fantastic, great. And I can't wait until the new one comes out. It looks fantastic.
The new one looks great. So
yeah, it's at 96% already on Rotten Tomatoes.
So that's gonna be epic.
They said don't from a few people that I saw the reviews, do not expect an action movie. It may have war in the title, but it's more of like of everything dealing with Caesar and them. I don't even want to get in.
I'm just so surprised at the CGI in this film. Holy cow, man! Everything looks so real.
It's really good.
I know we'll talk about it when the movie comes out, but man, I really hope that this might be the one that gives Andy Serkis an Oscar nomination because he is so good.
I don't think it will, but
we've been going through this since he did Gollum. I don't think the Academy doesn't get it. They don't well, he's not really in the movie. We're not really seeing him.
Well, it goes back to what I was. I think we talked about it before. For anyone that's seen the movie, Scarlett Johansson's best performance is probably in that. It is
hands down movie. Her best performance, I think.
And she is so good, and you don't even see her, and she gets no credit for her.
And she conveys every single emotion necessary, and without having an ounce of screen time. You don't even see her; it's just her voice. And she's so good.
Yes, sir. All right.
So. I don't know. It's depending on how beautiful she is. It's funny. The best thing she's ever done.
And she's not even on screen ever.
Did anyone else, by the way, have when you first saw Rise, were your expectations mine were at the floor? I didn't even expect anything from it at all.
It's funny that Serge is here to mention that because me and Serge saw it together.
We saw it together,
and we walked in there and we're like, no expectations.
We expected a shit show, or at least I did. I mean, it's a movie about monkeys, and they take over the planet. And okay, I'll watch it. It's free for us because I used to work at the movie theater.
Shout out to Biggie Smalls Theater.
And I invited Dave, and how about we see this crap? It looks crappy, but and we were floored completely.
And I was like, oh shit, it's an origin story on Caesar. By the way, Caesar is actually the son of the doctor and the two apes from the original movie. I forgot what their names are in the movie, but Caesar is actually their son in that universe. So it's funny that they took. I'm sure they have no affiliation with the original, but they took that story and that character, and they created an origin for Caesar. And I mean, it's so great. I mean, Draco Malfoy is an asshole, and then we get a great
playing another asshole,
and then we get a great final battle on the bridge. So good, and then Dawn is fucking great.
I wasn't even annoyed by James Franco because sometimes I can be
annoyed by James Franco.
Yeah, I think that was a turning point for me for James Franco. I didn't like him before that point, and then that movie really turned it for me.
And then, gave Frida Kahlo some work because I hadn't seen her in anything since Slumdog Millionaire. Oh, there she is.
Alrighty.
What's she been doing?
G, what's your number 4? Is it anything we've heard before?
It was in your honorable mention, but I picked Independence Day, and the reason Independence Day is ahead of Spider-Man 2 is more of the overall feeling of when I was younger seeing it for the first time, or the build-up to seeing it. Because I just remember, the trailer, didn't really give a lot away. You just, the spaceships just blowing up the White House. It was just it was like an event movie you had to see. And, you knew if you went back to school and you hadn't seen it, you were going to be left out from all the conversations your friends were having. Because everyone I knew at that time was we have to go see Independence Day.
And
I bought 2 posters before the movie came out.
And it has the greatest speech in the history of film.
Oh yes, the best presidential speech
ever.
Mr. Bill Pullman.
Fuck the Patton speech. This Bill Pullman speech today, we celebrate our Independence Day, is the greatest speech ever.
Now it's funny. It's funny how much we like it because critics ripped it apart.
Yeah,
when it came out.
That movie's destroyed by critics.
It made a ton of money because people didn't care.
Not at all.
It was just a fun movie.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Timing was great too. I mean, I think timing was great too for Will Smith as well. Like that was like if Bad Boys was an indication that he needed to leave his TV show, then Independence Day was like, all right, I need to.
Ironic that the series finale of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was 96 too, so it worked out. All right, Lou, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is Jaws.
All right, cool.
I don't think we
all right, cool.
Yeah, that's the reaction I got. One of the best screenplays of all time. All
right, so I'll piggyback then and say Jaws is my number 2.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. Jaws is the one that started it all. Jaws, without Jaws, the summer blockbuster. Who knows if it would have gotten a summer blockbuster? Who knows if like movies like that would be an Oscar contender would be thrown in July and May or whatever? But Jaws is the one that changed everything.
Jaws terrified the crap out of me.
Didn't terrify the crap out of me because I don't swim, so I'm good. but
it's such an effective. It's so effective only because he's hardly on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just even though he's not on the screen, his presence is still there.
The first scene,
it's still scary.
I think the scene that shows that best. I have 2 in mind. The first scene of the movie when you have you have John Williams' score playing, and you have the girl's legs, and you just see it, the camera shooting up, and done. That sets you up perfectly. It's so effective. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's when when the teenager boy dies, that you don't even see anything, and then it's 4th of July weekend, and then the little boy is like in the water, and then you don't see him getting killed. You just see like I think blood or a piece of like the float he was on, and that shows the effectiveness of like. It's all your mind working because you just put your imagination together and everything's like, oh shit, this shark just ate a kid. So I'm totally with like the effectiveness of Jaws.
Is it true that they didn't use the shark much, or it's not the reason why it's not on screen much is because the shark kept like screwing up?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, so
sometimes when things don't work,
and
it may be the most effective thing that ever happens to the movie.
Well, I mean, it helped.
That's hilarious.
With the ambiance.
Yeah, I mean,
when you Halloweenish.
You saw it at the end, and it like destroyed like their boat, and then the whole famous "we're gonna need a bigger boat" and everything. It was just, it is the one of the essential summer films, and the one that pretty much we're here today talking summer blockbusters because of Jaws, and it kind of made Steven Spielberg. That's the one that got him started, so that made him a big name.
Anybody like any of the sequels?
I like the second one, thanks to Jen. She's like, watch the second one. It's not that bad. No one else
I tried, man, but it was just...
Second one is not bad. Because the second one actually follows it's like the year after, right, G?
Yeah.
So
it's all right. Nowhere near as good as...
nowhere.
But yeah, no, I think I just like the first one mostly.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, G, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Jurassic Park, which you guys have already
Triassic and Cretaceous Park.
No, those titles would not have flowed well at all.
That's why I think they went to Jurassic. If they went one of the other two, welcome to Triassic Park.
Triassic. I like stumble all over that.
Is there anything you want to add, or pretty much?
No, I mean I think pretty much everything you said. We were actually talking about Jurassic Park yesterday, and the scene where there's a lot of really good scenes, but the scene where the T-Rex like crashes through the top of the car, and they're basically the only thing like separating the T-Rex and the kids is like the windshield or whatever. Like that is like such like just moments like that are so tense and seem so real. Like the fact that like he made you believe that like dinosaurs like you could actually like they didn't feel like effects or anything like that. Like you believe that was happening.
That was Stan Winston, right?
Yeah. And I know, like, it's so funny, like, the one thing, I did enjoy Jurassic World, but the one thing is, like, you could tell a lot of stuff was just CGI, and it, like, kind of took you out of it a little bit, but, like, the practical stuff they did in Jurassic Park, like, still holds up today.
Absolutely. I mean...
I still always go back to the Velociraptors being the scariest things in, like, cinema history. I remember, like, a month ago, we were in Six Flags for Dave's birthday, and we went through the animal kingdom. Yeah. We were watching the ostriches. And obviously, people were saying that's, like, the evolution of the raptors. And just, those are scary. So I can just imagine...
being around a raptor.
When the actual, like, Velociraptors were around.
Not the Tyrannoraptors, right?
No, I'm not scared of the monoraptors.
And then they made them all like smart. Like they made them like eventually they were like opening doors and talking to each other.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah.
There's something about like originally they were supposed to make a part 3 in the series.
There is a part 3.
No, but like in like the 90s, it was supposed to have a part 3, and they were supposed to have human and dinosaur hybrids or something.
That's terrible.
That was
That
awful,
would
bro. I'm so glad.
I mean,
I
I even hate the hybrid in this one. I can only imagine I would have hated.
They were supposed to make human and dinosaur hybrids in a supposed
that
part
sounds like
3.
that sounds like an ode to Bad Reel.
Man, I'd be okay with that.
No,
because
you wouldn't. I can't believe you.
No. If I have to deal with the T-Rex roaming through San Diego scene, I could have dealt with that in the third movie.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Let me do a head count right now. How many people in this room, including guys, you're not in this room, but you're here in spirit, bro? How many people like the world?
I thought it was fine, but I don't think it's a great movie whatsoever.
There you go.
It's fine. I was entertained. It's the best one since the
I
first
feel like
one.
it's been ripped apart.
Yeah, it is the
I think it's very underrated.
I think it doesn't deserve all that money.
I think it does.
Oh, it made me excited. Like it felt like a really. I mean, just the definition of just like being a really good summer movie. It was just fun. I had like a lot of fun when I saw it. I mean, not the same emotions I get when I watch Jurassic Park, but it was just still a lot of fun.
Yep.
Now, I was surprised when I was genuinely surprised when it made as much money as it did. Like that opening weekend, I was like, whoa, like I guess we were all hungry for
I think that year, that 2015 year was because we first were shocked with how much money Fast and the Furious made. And then Jurassic World's like, hold my beer. And then Star Wars is like, hold my beer. I'll take care of this really quick. So do you think, I mean, this is off topic. Do you think Star Wars is breaking its own record this year?
Maybe.
Like, it's, I think there's much more anticipation with this one as to see what happens with Luke. Because I think Luke's in the movie now, so I think there might be more anticipation for that. I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so Serge actually looked it up, and yes, there was, oh, gee, I gotta send you a picture of this.
Fantastic.
It's a hybrid of a Triceratops,
something I don't
and
like,
a Tyrannosaurus, and a Velociraptor.
Oh, Jesus.
And a human. It's terrible. And it was for the Jurassic Park 4.
Okay, my bad.
Oh, that's terrible.
Awesome.
All right, Lou. Moving on. What is your number 2?
All right, number 2 is Star Wars.
I have no idea what your number 1 is.
You don't know what my number 1 is? That's the face? I thought you didn't like Star Wars for a minute.
No, I love I'm just like surprised. I don't know.
His reaction was like he just looked in the sky and started doing a prayer. I don't know what the hell he was doing.
So 1 second, I want to interject for a second about the new Star Wars coming out. I have a theory about the new Star Wars and what's going to happen. And if I'm right, I don't know. I mean,
give me
I'll
all
take
your
one if you're offering it. Okay, so I think that the reason why all the Jedis are going to become extinct is because for Luke feels like there has to be a balance in the Force. Obviously, you know how there has to be like a balance in the Force, but I feel like in order to kind of defeat all the Sith and the dark side, there has to be a balance in the Force in the user himself or herself. So he probably is going to say, embrace all the light and the dark together in yourself and find the balance in yourself, and that's how you're going to become like strong enough to
destroy.
Go
I agree.
Against
I wouldn't be surprised because
all that.
If you really look at it, the whole balance of the Force never works.
It never works because if you produce 80 Jedis, it's going to produce 80 Sith.
Yeah,
and so it'll always be balanced. But if you as a user of the Force are balanced, so if you are a light user and a dark user, because it's, you know, all of us have a dark side inside of us, and I feel like all the Jedis are kind of like only embracing all the light and not embracing their own kind of dark side.
I agree.
Am I going off on a weird tangent?
No, don't go do your thing. I totally agree with you.
No, but then I think that is going to happen in this new film, and in order for them to be strong enough to go against Snoke and the dark side, they have to understand that they have to embrace the evil in them as well as the good and use the whole spectrum of the Force to succeed.
I can see that. As long as it's as good as Looper, I'll be okay.
Yeah, and if I'm right, then
I'll buy you a beer.
I'll come back on this podcast and say, I told you so.
Hashtag I told you so.
All right. So Lou's number 1. Number 2 is
Star
Wars.
Yeah. Countless.
That movie from a
the
galaxy.
guys didn't like the score. We know that. But
I did like
well, it didn't make us top 5.
Didn't make his top 5. It's like
Jesus
number 9 and shit.
It wasn't number 9. Like,
it was like 7.
Oh, man. I will talk about that in a little bit.
I know.
All right, G, what's your number 2?
The Dark Knight.
Cool.
All the reasons you already did it, though.
Yes.
Just a quick interjection again. So we're all in David's room now, just hanging out. And some dude outside the window.
So we apologize.
We've
been trying to avoid it the last
There's some
30
dude
minutes.
who's screaming about God and our damnation, and he is very angry. And I don't know. I know it's irrelevant, but
shout out to God.
yes, shout out to God, who's because if he made this all possible.
Exactly.
He made this all possible.
Oh man. So yeah, The Dark Knight is G's number 2.
But that story was more entertaining than any reason I could have given for liking The Dark Knight.
So anything you want to add besides what we mentioned before?
No, I think you covered it.
Yeah. All right. So we finally hit our number 1. My number 1, I said Joss created it. Star Wars perfected it. Number 1 is Star Wars for me. I mean, Star Wars is 40 years old, and Serge is telling us about a theory about an upcoming Star Wars movie. I think that kind of shows the power of Star Wars.
I think it's the reason why Hamill is so upset. I think because if you introduce that aspect of embracing the light and the dark together, it goes against everything else in the series, right? So I think he's upset about that change. I mean, I could be wrong, obviously, but I don't know. It just seems like a cool theory.
I think, well, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't want to.
We shall see.
But with Star Wars, I mean, there's just so much. We talk about Star Wars all the time. It's always like our number 1 for some. Like, and I would put Empire Strikes Back because that's the film I think it's superior. But without Star Wars doing what it did, making all the money it made, and creating the universe it created, we'd never get to where we are with Empire and all these movies 40 years later. There's nothing really wrong, I think, with Star Wars. I think you have the perfect villain, you have the perfect heroine, and perfect hero. I mean, I think Ripley's the best action heroine we've ever had, but Princess Leia is the first one to just be no fucks given. I don't need a man to do what I'm gonna do. Like that scene when she first escapes and she just grabs Han's gun and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she just like starts shooting sword troopers up. Like, it just shows like George Lucas doesn't do much good, but in terms of this, he made everyone have a place in the movie. Han Solo is that arrogant asshole that saves the day in the end. Everyone's like perfectly used in the movie.
Han shot first.
Han definitely shot first.
Han's the only one that shot, actually. So that's shout out to George Lucas's awful alterations. All right, Lou, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is the best stereotypically black movie ever. Soul Plane. My headphone fell.
You're joking, right?
I missed Gaius' reaction.
I think me and Gaius are just like, nah.
Nah, it's The Dark Knight.
Oh, fuck. You didn't mention The Dark Knight. Duh.
Yeah, Serge has something to say about Soul Plane.
No, I mean, it was, I actually enjoyed Soul Plane.
Stop.
I actually did. I mean, it's goofy, but it's supposed to be goofy. That's why I liked it. It didn't take itself all that seriously.
Is Kevin Hart in that?
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Speaking, and
Malik, I think.
I do want to mention something about Kevin Hart as soon as G mentions his number 1, and then we'll talk about that in a little later.
With The Dark Knight, the reason is number 1 over Star Wars is because I wasn't alive, even close to being alive when Star Wars came out. So when The Dark Knight came out, it like literally took over that summer for me.
Yeah,
everybody was talking about that movie all summer. I don't even know how many times.
You know what's funny about The Dark Knight?
I went like 4 or 5 times to go see it in the theater.
Looking at it, no one ever talks about Batman in The Dark Knight. It's all about the villains.
Yeah. I mean, they do talk about Batman.
I mean, when I was talking about when it came out, and I was like telling people about it, I never talked about Batman. I was like, Joker, Two-Face, kicked ass.
I feel like it goes to show you how great of a film it is, because it's a film about Batman, yet he's not the most interesting character in his own film.
Is.
He never really is.
Unfortunate thing,
right?
They always make especially with Burton, especially in Batman Returns, where like Batman's in the movie like 20 minutes and it's all about the Catwoman and Penguin. So yeah,
it doesn't really feel like a Batman movie sometimes.
It's like Batman Returns at the end.
He feels like he's like shoehorned in like to the plot. It's like, oh yeah, you're in this.
It's like the Dark Knight featuring Batman.
Yeah, right. But no, I mean,
But it's like with all of them too. I mean, like the villains kind of are more interesting than the hero in like all those movies.
The irony, as in like DC can't get a great villain.
Return.
The DCU like can't get a great villain.
Well, it did. But yeah, I think it holds a record for me for most times going to watch a movie in the theater, and I don't think it'll be broken because I don't go to the theater that often. But 4 or 5 times in the theater, I don't even know how many times I've seen it on Blu-ray at this point. And I think it's probably the most watched movie in my life, so it's my number one.
I mean, theater I saw is 7, and then I can't even count how many times
your AIM screening was Why So Serious. Man.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, my AIM in my old PSN was Why So Serious.
There you go.
So yeah. All right.
The throwback in half.
Save the best for last. What is your number one?
So I went the Star Wars route, but
you went Empire.
Empire, yeah. And I like while you guys were saying the original Star Wars, I was like, I guess I should have included that too. But Empire stands out to me the most, of course, because it's just great.
Movie, yeah.
And I'm not saying Star Wars isn't great either, but there's just a lot going on in Empire that.
It makes you happy and it makes you sad.
I can watch that without watching the rest of them. I actually enjoy that as a film, like on its own, even though it's not a complete story and it's open ended. Like there's a lot left on the table at the end of the movie, but it's just an enjoyable film to watch, and it had no problems going dark. Our heroes are in a very like kind of uncertain place by the time the movie's over. Like I think it takes a lot of chances, and to come out at a time where where you weren't finding out about sequels like the weekend after a movie came out. Like you saw that movie in the theater, it ended the way it ended and told you all that stuff, and you had to wait how many years was it between Empire and Return of the Jedi? 3 years. Where you're just like, okay, so like to kind of have the balls to do that as like a big movie to come out during the summer like that, and like you have something that good. Like I think that it just took a lot of chances, I thought.
Agreed. I mean, nowadays they do it all the time, but Empire was the first to say, all right, let's take the balls and leave this open-ended and let the bad guys win. So I think it was a great chance.
Yeah, I don't know. We did 3. I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like, not even a hint.
And then we
get like something.
And then we get Return of the Jedi and Ewoks. But
yeah, I mean, I didn't really live up to that. All the promise that we wanted
at
to
least
have.
The final battle with Vader and Luke was great with Jedi, But yeah, that brings us to the finale of today's episode. Next week, we have a little fun agenda. We're going to talk Spider-Man. We're going to do a Spider-Man Homecoming little debate on whether we liked it, what we liked, what we didn't like. And we're going to have next week's episode is going to be split into 2 parts. Because on top of that, we're going to do a commentary. No top 10 next week. A commentary on one of Gaius' favorite films, Lewis's number 2 film of all time, Spider-Man 3.
The Topher Grace masterpiece.
We're going to do a little commentary. I think we'll have a little fun with this. And
that movie's long, isn't it?
It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. But before we finish, did you guys check out the trailer to Jumanji?
No, I didn't.
I didn't hate it as much as you did. You were like,
Oh,
it was like the worst thing you've ever seen.
I mean,
you're like the worst thing you ever.
But
seen.
you like Baywatch, so that's a different story.
I think it's an obvious I think it's a cash grab. It's an obvious cash grab.
Oh, it's I
think
so
Hollywood
bad.
is out of ideas, and they needed to make anything.
That's why back in the beginning of the episode. That's why Baby Driver is so important, and that it made so much money.
It's unique and it's right. It's original. If I understand, right?
It's original, yeah.
Yeah.
So before breaking,
the trailer didn't look as.
And breaking news before we let go, we have the box office results for the weekend.
And that guy outside is still very angry.
He's very angry. Maybe he's angry about the box office results. Despicable Me comes in at number 1 with a disappointing $75 million. So it really underperformed.
That's the reason he's screaming outside the window. He wanted it to
what
have
happened,
higher
G?
grossing.
I overshot that a lot. I thought I was going to do better.
Baby Driver, not 21 million. So it finishes at number 2. For a movie that not a lot of people know about, great job.
So is that just 21 million for the weekend, or is that counting the
No, just the weekend.
opening on Wednesday?
It's just
okay.
Yeah. Number 3 took a nosedive. Transformers is at 17 million. And
but it's still killing in China.
Of course. Number 4, still holding strong, is Wonder Woman at 15 million. And rounding out the top 5 is Cars at 9. The House, which opened, only made 9 million. So
I don't even know what The House is.
So
some stupid boy welfare movie.
It hasn't been really a good time for comedies right now. That sucks.
No, not at all. So this week we have reviews of Baby Driver, The House.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I know. I'm so sorry, G.
I know. I had to deal with you sending me that picture of the 10%, and then you saying that you didn't laugh once.
Well, you like more comedies than I do, so it might be easier for you than me.
But I did like Baywatch.
Yeah, Baywatch is terrible. Baywatch is god awful.
I know, man, but Kelly Warbach though.
Yeah, she was hot.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually like 3 reels automatically.
And we are covering the Spider-Man franchise. G's gonna cover and do a little throwback review on the Tobey Maguire era. No Spider-Man 3. We'll save that for Sunday.
Yeah.
So for this nice,
I would give the Andrew Garfield one some love, but
dude, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is terrible. I barely got through it. It's garbage.
I was entertained. There's really good isolated moments.
Jamie Foxx is awful in that movie.
Horrendous.
Well, he basically plays it the way like Jim Carrey played the Riddler in Batman Forever. That's what it reminded me.
I do like the one bright spot out of both of those movies is that I do like we were saying it before, Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield have great chemistry together.
Yeah.
So
it work in the second one. Even though like the movie's kind of a mess, I still was like, oh, I'm still kind of moved by what.
Oh, when she dies.
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy's death. I don't even know who to blame on that.
But that's what happened. That's what happened when you date in real life. Those are real tears.
It's funny. I always look back at I never really was into Gwen Stacy, and now thanks to Emma Stone. Shout out to the lovely Emma Stone. I love Gwen Stacy's backstory, and I even have her Death of Gwen Stacy comic autographed by Stan Lee. So I mean,
I still maintain in the comic book that she had left a much big. I mean, I know Mary Jane, whatever. I thought she had a much bigger impact on him.
Well, yeah, because I mean that was his first love, and then look, she died, so it kind of took any trust away of him ever loving anyone again, and that's why I think the struggle with Mary Jane. That's what the whole thing with Gwen Stacy being introduced later in the Tobyverse. That was a little weird. But yeah, we'll definitely cover that next week. So for this week, this jam-packed July 4th episode of Reel Chronicles, I am David.
This is Lewis.
Serge.
Gaius.
And our very favorite gal,
Jen.
And our special guest, Angry Jesus Man outside.
Angry Pastor.
Bye, Angry Pastor.
Yeah,
See you next.
He needs some followers.
See you. Happy 4th of July. Happy birthday, Real Talk.
Happy birthday, Real Talk.
Yay.
Thanks for listening. You can find our show notes and more at realtalking.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Reel Chronicles. Love what you hear? Leave us a review and tell your friends. If you have a topic you want us to cover, shoot us an email at realtalkinc@gmail.com. Until next Monday, keep it real.